Nashville's best sports talk. Locally owned. Home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FM Pegram. 97.5 Murfreesboro. WBUZ HD2 Laverne. Online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Wholesale Link Studios, powered by RumbleOn.com. It's time for Darren, Daunic, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5
Good morning.
The Game.
Actually, it's not tie-dye, but I wish I had some more tie-dye. I really do. I like tie-dye. It's more, it's like a knockoff Affliction shirt. It's kind of more that look.
And a good Thursday morning to you, and welcome into Darren, Daunic, and Chase here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Hope everybody's having a good start to your day. Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, Chase McCabe. That is the lineup we are putting out on the radio field today for the next 4 hours. Elijah Campbell at our network control studios, which is our Wholesale Link Game Studios, powered by RumbleOn.com. Always there when needed. Always. We do appreciate that. Guys, how we doing?
I'm good.
So you are round 2 is in the books for you, and you seem to be just fine. You seem like when I was looking at you at Zoom this morning, you seem to have some pep in your step. So no after effects. All is well.
Here's the deal. I went to bed pretty early last night because I was just tired. I was super tired.
Fatigue is part of what you hear.
Yeah, and I even somebody told me, hey, go on a walk. That's actually going to help you, even though it made me more tired. And so I did that like yesterday after the show. I went on a walk, and by about 8:30, it was hitting me. And I'm like, I can't go anymore. I got to go to bed. So
how far did you walk?
Mile and a half.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. That's good. That's a good walk. No shame in a mile and a half.
So
I push it to 2, but no shame in a mile and a half.
Hey,
Did I say that out loud? Is this mic on?
Yeah. Baby steps. But yeah, no, I feel fine. I haven't gotten sick at all. Like, I haven't had a fever or chills or any of that.
No morning sickness.
No morning sickness.
Good. Excellent.
Our show's in the morning, so that's good. Afternoon sickness, no problem.
Added perspective,
we're done.
folks. Added perspective.
Yeah. It's always good not to have that.
Not to be
We'd have a big
morning,
story
with morning sickness.
Yeah. Could have a big story there.
Oh, we would have the breaking news sounder for sure.
Nice to know Chase isn't sick for 2.
Thank you, Elijah. But yeah, I feel good.
Miracles happen on this show, but that would be the ultimate miracle there.
That would be.
That'd be something.
I did see where Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner, what is he's running for?
Caitlyn.
She's running for governor. Is that right? Did I see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger won.
Yeah. I think Arnold's star was a little brighter. I'm just going to go on a limb. Say it's a little bit bigger, a little bit brighter.
We're talking decathlon gold medal.
But that was in the 70s. Kind of.
I'll tell you what.
Way before
Bruce Jenner was like the biggest star. Like when you're on the Wheaties box.
I understand, Willie, but how many people in California who are voting remember that moment?
Good question. We'll find out.
Hey, if this was Florida, there'd be a lot of people that would remember, right? A lot of people.
You're saying people in Florida can be old? No way.
I'm hearing that the demo down there is a little bit older.
It can be. Yeah, can be.
My research has said that Florida's demo is a little bit older.
Some people go down there, yeah.
They tend to, like Chase did last night, they tend to eat early, take a walk, and then go to bed early.
I'll give you a funny story. When I was with the Blue Jays in the Tampa area, they gave us they wanted the guys to eat healthy, right? So you had 2 choices to go to dinner. You could go to Ruby Tuesdays because they didn't have a
salad
cafeteria.
Salad bar.
Right.
Ruby Tuesdays is where it's at.
Nothing wrong with Ruby Tuesdays. It's in the mall, and that's where you wanted to go. But you couldn't you couldn't go there every night, right? So your other choice was Luby's Cafeteria,
Luby's,
where you could get a little more variety. You
Yeah.
could like get more food because you have a cafeteria set up. It was basically all you can eat. But the scene at Luby's, after the baseball crew day is over, it's spring training, so you eat pretty early. You're hungry at the end of the day. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock, so you're ready to eat. So like 5, 6 o'clock, the scene at Luby's is a bunch of completely goofy, out of control morons like us, the minor league baseball players, not with the best manners all the time. And then, shall we say, an older crowd, and really nothing in between, right? So it's all, people probably 60 and up, retired, hanging out, having a nice early dinner, having a nice quiet conversation. And then you've got these complete wackos from Animal House coming in and upsetting the apple cart. I mean, it was quite the contrast in the demographic at Luby's. I'm sure the manager was like,
You're saying
God.
some people may have asked for their check a little bit earlier than normal?
Yeah, I'm sure the management was like, oh God, here they come again. Oh my God. What are we
So
gonna
is
do?
it like a buffet?
Yeah, it's a buffet. It's a cafeteria. You just go, it's like Animal House.
So
like
you just
when
go down the line.
Plutarski goes
tray.
down the line, and we had some
Yeah.
guys like that. They would like to slurp the Jello and, grab like 5 burgers and stick 2 in your pocket and, dumb stuff like that, like minor leaguers tend to do.
Did you ever succumb to peer pressure? Did you ever join in the fray?
We never had a food fight like they did in Animal House.
JC's not answering the
I may-
question.
He's not.
I may have slurped the Jello a couple times and said, "Hey, you remember this in Animal House, guys?"
There it is.
And
There it
there
is.
it is.
Remember when Brother Bluto slurped the Jello?
Oh yeah.
I do.
Oh,
see if we can do it.
I haven't been to a buffet in over a year. I mean, I guess most people
yes,
haven't. Yeah. I miss
this
buffets.
just so you know, you're not the only person in that line.
I know, but like I've thought about this because I went out to Vegas, and Vegas has some pretty good buffets, and didn't do that.
Yep.
So I'm kind of missing them.
We've done some Mother's Day brunches at Mayor Bulls in the past, and that didn't happen this year. I don't even know if they did it this year or not. But that's a great brunch. Great.
I hope they come back soon.
Kitchen Notes, great.
Oh,
great.
Man. That's where I recommend
brunch
if you want to go for it.
Oh my gosh,
Alan,
the biscuit bar. Hello.
Alan from Nashville on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. I'm a zit. Get it?
Yeah, there we go. I was waiting for somebody to say
I did not do that.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you. I kept waiting. I
Can't
thought
speak
Willie.
for my teammates, but
I didn't want
do
to
that
steal it. I thought Willie was going there for sure.
I know.
And then,
If
of
Pete
course,
Weber's listening, he appreciates this.
Yeah.
Then of course you had Otter, sitting there trying to pick up on the girl, saying, "Can I get you some lunch? You got your lunch. How about some milk? Oh, you got your milk too. Remember that?"
I think
And
Otter
the girl
was
was like, "Can you please do something about this guy?"
I think
this guy
Otter
outta
was
here.
probably one of my favorites.
He's pretty good.
So the
a
schedule
great
came
movie.
out last night. It's official. What did you guys make of what the Titans will be facing this upcoming season? 17-game schedule, as we know, with a late bye. I don't know how much the league served them well with that, but what did you make of the schedule overall?
Well, their schedule came out before we know the NHL postseason schedule. So
That is true. This
There's
is true.
that.
It doesn't start until September.
Listen,
So you can get your calendar set for September, but not for next week yet.
yeah. Just like you can bet on the games in September,
That's
but
right.
not
Yes,
next
you
week.
You
put a
can
bet on-
bet on these
as we
games
established
before you
yesterday.
can bet on
Yes.
these NHL playoffs.
You could bet on them
because
before
we
the
don't
schedule
know.
came out.
We don't know
True.
anything yet.
The first 3 weeks, not easy by any means. Even
You don't
though
think
this,
so?
no. The start at home, and then you got to go all the way out to Seattle, which we know that's a tough place to play. And I don't know exactly what the Seahawks are going to be. There's been some off-season things with them.
No, wait a minute. Pete Carroll just did a presser. He said, "I don't even know what all this Russell
Yeah,
Wilson
I'm
stuff
sure.
was. There's nothing
I'm
to see here, folks.
sure everything's great, Pete.
Keep moving, move along. Nothing to see here."
So that one's interesting. And then
Well,
you
John
got the
Clayton did say
Colts
it
at
was
home.
overblown. Did he not?
He did.
No, I mean, look,
He
John
kinda
Clayton
downplayed
came on. It was as emphatic can be. Of, hey, this is the most overblown story there's been. I mean, like there was absolutely nothing to this story. Nothing. So I mean, look, he didn't hesitate. He didn't mince words. He was like, this was a lot to do about nothing. So I don't know. Maybe Pete maybe Pete's telling
Maybe
the
it's
truth.
right.
Yeah.
But then why was where'd this stuff come from?
Right.
That's what I always say.
Yep.
The portion that really stood out to me was starting week 6 on Monday Night Football when the Bills come here. And then next week you have the Chiefs. Now both of those are at home, so that certainly helps. And the Titans seem to do well. We saw last year after the 16-day break, it became a primetime game. They took care of the Bills, but
Willie's getting
Willie,
choked
all
up
right?
over the schedule. Oh my.
We okay, Willie?
Furball.
Something like that.
So
and then,
Buffalo here, Kansas City here, then at LA against the Rams.
No, at the Colts, then at
Oh,
LA.
that's right. At the Colts, then LA. That's right.
Yeah, so you got to go to
That's
Indy.
a brutal month.
And you wonder, do they go to Indy and come back, or I mean, I guess it makes sense just to come back,
Yeah.
But
That's like a 45-minute flight.
Yeah,
pretty-
something
it's
like
a
that.
pretty
And
quick
then
flight.
and then week 10,
Hour maybe.
the Saints are here, and we don't know quarterback.
But we don't really know what the Saints like. We have
that defense though.
Yeah, but post Drew Brees, I mean, we don't know.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
Like think about it. It's been a long time since we've seen what the Saints will look like every single week without Drew Brees.
No, I agree.
Like it's okay for him to miss a game here, a game there, maybe even a month. It's fine, but knowing that he's not around,
sure.
and for the next for 17 weeks, they're going to trot somebody out there who's not named Drew Brees. We don't know what it's going to look like. So I suspect you're right. It's not like they're going to fall off a cliff, but I'm not so sure they're going to be the juggernaut that we've seen like the last 4 years.
Well, this is as good a time as any for me to say what I say every year. I don't know if it'll be the Saints or not. Somebody is going to fall off the cliff. The way the schedule looks today, we say this every year, it won't stop us from dissecting every single week and going through the schedule. My son, the first thing he asked me last night was, what do you think the record's going to be? And I said 10-6. He goes, can't be 10-6.
That's right. He's right.
That's true.
I was like, oh. So I had to decide 11-6 or 10-7.
What did you say? What was your answer?
Well, I said 11-6. I'm an optimist.
Oh, okay.
I think it's going to be 10-7 or 11-6, but it's not going to go the way we think. Like you said, guys. I mean, it's going to be different for the Saints. So when you look at the schedule and you say, "Oh my gosh, they got to play the Saints," we don't know what the Saints are going to look like by November of next year. No. Same thing with the Rams. They got a completely different look. Is that going to be better? Might be.
I would say.
Well, it looks like it, but we don't know.
I can't imagine. I mean, how do you not think they've upgraded? It's kind of hard to think that the Rams have taken a step back. I mean,
well, look, the schedule looks tough because it's a first place schedule, and you have an extra game where you have to play another division winner. So the schedule is going to look brutal right now, and it might end up being brutal. But by the time the season gets going, all you can do is, if you're a good team, you got to hope that you'll win enough games to be in the mix.
By the way, isn't the Rams game the Sunday Night Football game out there?
Yeah, so an actual scheduled Sunday night game.
Is that that's the Super Bowl site, right? SoFi? Is that the Super Bowl home this year?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
So I think
second year in a row they've had a scheduled Sunday night game.
And this year you might have a crowd in there.
Oh,
last year they opened the stadium. It's a beautiful stadium, but we've never seen what it looks like.
Well, that's true. Actually, I should say that Las Vegas has said yes, they are going to. So they didn't have fans. They've got also a brand new stadium that hasn't entertained any fans yet. So I think they've already said that there's going to be fans, but you're right. That's a good point. I don't know if LA has said for the Chargers and Rams if there's going to be fans.
Listen, if we can't get
by
there
September, I was to say if we
November.
Honestly,
November, yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, if they can't get there by September, really,
I shudder to think what will have happened across the country if we're not wide open by then.
I can tell you this: I've never, I had a baseball trip planned last year that got canceled because of COVID. I've never been to LA. I'm looking at that weekend, possibly going out there for the Sunday night game, if it's feasible. So I think that'd be a cool trip. See that new stadium, watch them take on the Rams in prime time. But that portion of the schedule to me is I mean, you're gonna
That's
learn
Murderers Row. Yeah.
Murderers Row. That's the season. You're gonna learn a lot about the team through that stretch.
Yep.
And to Willie's point, yeah, there could be a team that falls off the cliff. And you look at Buffalo, Kansas City, could they be one of those? But it's not necessarily easy on the back half either, because who knows what Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Miami, who knows what they are?
Well, New England. What do we think New England?
New England,
We have
yeah.
no idea.
Good point. And you're
We'll
right.
come
At
back.
New England? Come on. I mean, that could be a very tough game.
Alan Bell from Sportsline. We will chat with him on a variety of topics. On the other side, Darren, Daunic, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Toward the net, the back end of the car. The Stanley Cup playoffs are returning to Smashville.
We've already got 8 games against each other. You want to try and keep some tricks up your sleeve.
We've got you covered with the only Preds talk in town.
We have 2 possible goaltenders in the playoffs.
On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
One day a duck went into a pharmacy and asked for a tube of chapstick. Pharmacist said, "That's $1.25, to which the duck replied, "Why don't you just put it on my bill?" The duck then waddled across the street to Red Spirits and Wine, where he discovered a dazzling array of distilled spirits and liqueurs, with a special collection of allocated spirits and Red selected single-barrel whiskeys. He was bowled over by Red's state-of-the-art growler station, featuring 16 taps of local and craft beer favorites and 4 taps devoted to wine. Speaking of which, the wine selected from around the world was simply stunning. And all of this at a price that tickled his feathers. That evening, the duck enjoyed a delicious glass of Burgundy and single malt scotch before retiring with an all-encompassing sense of well-being. Red Spirits is located at the corner of Highway 70 South and Old Hickory Boulevard.
Hey, it's Jared. Buying or selling a car is one of the biggest financial decisions you can make. Edmunds will take the headaches and guesswork out of the car shopping for you. They're pros. They've been helping people like you and me for over 50 years. Edmunds.com was the first auto information website. They're experts in buying or selling. I understand how tough it can be for all of you to try to compare and contrast when you can't just test drive. That's why you got to let my friends at Edmunds do it. They have tons of local listings for new and used vehicles with deal ratings that will help you tell if an offer is fair, and their free online tools can help you build your budget, calculate financing, or even get a free appraisal if you're selling or trading in. Not sure where to start looking? The Edmunds editorial team test drives over 300 new vehicles a year, reviewing almost every car on the market. I absolutely love the idea of knowing what you're getting. When I was shopping for my last car, I probably tried to compare and contrast so many different things, and finally, I was able to find the right one for me. It took too long. Thank goodness that people can use Edmunds. Whether you're just browsing or know exactly what you want, Edmunds gives you that extra boost of confidence. Visit Edmunds.com to get started. For cars, there's Edmunds.
At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we talk to men about sexual health issues all the time. And the one thing we hear often is how erectile dysfunction often makes bedroom performance both a disappointing and intimidating experience for a man and his partner. If you're over 50, what I just described could very well be happening to you. ED is a performance destroyer. It ruins your confidence and makes what should be a wonderful time of intimacy both stressful and unfulfilling. If this is a problem in your life, the Tennessee Men's Clinic can likely change your situation dramatically. And I say this with confidence because the Tennessee Men's Clinic has helped thousands of men with treatments that have success rates as high as 90%. In fact, many patients are performing like they haven't in years. So make an appointment today. For just $99, you'll get a consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Contact your doctor if an erection lasts more than 4 hours. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
ESPN 102.5 The Game has your exclusive opportunity to be inside Bridgestone Arena for Games 3 and 4 of Round 1 between the Preds and Canes. Tune in every day next week for your chance to win tickets and experience the Stanley Cup playoffs in Nashville. Tune in all week long. We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, Gary, could you release the schedule already? Let's do this, okay? ESPN 94.9, the official English radio home of the Nashville Soccer Club. Willie, listen up to this. Listen in on Saturday as Nashville SC hits the road to face Real Salt Lake. Pregame begins at 8:15 and the match starts at 8:30. Nobody got that reference?
Well done.
It's
I know
Real
who
Salt Lake. But no,
I
in
know.
all seriousness, we love George. But do you remember, Willie, when he did the read of they've got WIFI?
That was the best. That's still one of the best ever.
Look, we're going to be at Blackstone Brewery, and they've got WFI-FI. So
No,
come
it's
on
free.
down, and it's free.
And remember,
We're
I
like,
think
Willie
it was a
Willie and I were looking at each other
condominium
like,
complex or like
Wi-Fi?
you mean Wi-Fi?
Nashville
hold on a
SC
second.
will take on Real Salt Lake, the Real Salt Lake team. We love
Not
you,
the
Not the
fake
fake
Salt
one.
Lake,
Not
the
the fake
real
one.
Salt Lake.
I couldn't resist.
Where did
That
that
was-
start in soccer? Like,
I don't know. That's a
Real
good
Madrid?
question.
Like, what is
I don't
what's the origin of that? Like, I don't.
Must have been a ton of fake Madrids around.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Was that is that the original? The Real Madrid, is that the original Real, or did that come from something else?
To my knowledge, I guess that's
Where's the soccer snob? Teach us.
Ooh.
Right?
Text
The
us.
snob would not teach us, right? The snob would say, "Figure it out."
Guys, this is embarrassing.
Can somebody who's not a soccer snob that knows soccer help us out with the Real term?
Yeah, I would like to know that. Let me check with my soccer people.
Let's
Check with the people. Check
let's
with the
bring
people.
in
We'd like
Alan Bell.
This is
Maybe-
how the education process
Hey.
works in a new market.
Let our guest, maybe our guest knows.
Maybe
the
Alan
answer.
knows. Yeah.
Alan Bell from Sportsline. Alan, what's up? Good morning.
Darren on a car phone. Give me about 15 seconds. Let me say. As a huge sports plaster guy, I love it. His
Oh
voice,
my
it
gosh,
makes
Alan,
well
that is a
done.
walk off. I mean, literally, dude. Like we want to
that's
interview you,
it.
but I think you should just
We
hang
can't
up and
top
call
that.
it a day.
We
Like
can't
that
top that.
was outstanding.
How y'all doing, man? Y'all doing
Oh,
good?
much better
Great.
now. That was fantastic. Let's.
Are you on a car phone, Alan?
Yeah, I wish. I
We
wish
used-
my car had one. Yeah.
You, Alan, you would not believe how mad that made people. Would you guys tell George they're not car phones anymore? Stop. I mean, people would get furious that he would say that. Let's go to Alan on a car phone.
And he didn't care. He refused to change.
Yeah, he
was like,
refused.
Don't worry about it.
I love him. I'm telling you, I love him, man. When he did that voice, it made me smile.
They've got WFI-FI. Willie, you're looking at Wi-Fi? George, is that what you're doing? Let's start off with some really cool news. Did I see where Tennessee they were the first state to reach the billion mark in betting?
The quickest state. So
The
Tennessee
quickest,
was
the quickest.
state. Yep,
Yes.
It took 6 months to do it, and it's incredible. I mean, you look at Tennessee as a state. I mean, it's a larger state than people nationally might think. It's about 2.06% of the entire population, which doesn't sound like a big percentage, but that is. But I mean, for them, to go up against heavy hitters, right? And think about this. It didn't come. Sports betting didn't come until November. So, this state didn't get the beginning of college football season, the beginning of the NFL season. It was the tail end of it. So the numbers that this state is going to do in, August, September, October are just going to be through the roof.
What do you attribute that to? Which, it is amazing to see the continued success. Like you said, November 1 is when this whole thing launched in this state. And don't forget how wacky sports has been. I have to imagine if we start seeing some normal stuff again, where it's only going to increase, right? Just the attention span, people fully back engaged in the sports scene. If the football scene, I mean, we're already seeing it. A lot of the NHL they're announcing Bridgestone Arena is going to have the biggest crowds they've ever had. It's not going to be 100%, but I mean, we're getting so close. Don't you think that that's only going to help increase what we're talking about here in the state?
Absolutely. It's definitely going to increase. And what it tells me is that there were a lot of neighborhood bookies running around this city that we didn't know about, right? But I'll say this. I mean, Tennessee obviously is a tremendous sports state. It's chock full of sports fans, from east to west, that know what they're talking about. And for the market to do this well right out of the gate, there's going to be a lot of people who weren't early adopters, right? Who didn't jump on immediately from day one. And I'll also say this, there's one thing to look at the total amount that has been wagered, and that's the number that we're talking about. But two, there's also a percentage each month of what the books take home. Okay, and that essentially kind of gives you an idea of how well sports bettors are doing. Okay, and the average, in any state, across the country can be, from 11% to 16%, wherever. And you look at the percentages, and it's been around 12%, 13%, 12.5% somewhere. So it also shows that bettors in the state of Tennessee are good. They know what they're doing. And especially to be that, good at it, so to say, right out of the gate, shows you that people in Tennessee really do know what they're talking about in terms of sports.
Gosh, all right. Everybody should feel good hearing that. Pat yourself on the back. What did you make of the Titans Cardinals opening line at 2.5? Titans favored at home. What did you think when you first saw that line? Right?
Yeah.
Right? Is that right? Did you think it's a little bit off? Do you have an opinion one way or the other as we sit here in middle of May?
Yeah. I mean, it goes to show that you probably get to about two even teams, right? So if you're counting on, let's just say a 75% to 100%, fan base that's in the stadium in terms of capacity, you're looking at about, 2.5 points is what playing at home, in front of a full stadium, is worth. So Vegas is looking at it saying, all right, well, we've got two pretty good teams here. And I think that the line is fair. You look at the total, I think last I saw was, around 51, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. So they believe that it's going to be a pretty high scoring game. I think it's the third highest total, in week one. So there's going to be some points put up. You're probably looking at, a 27-24 type game, a 28-24 type game. So it's going to be somewhat high scoring. It's going to be two teams that are predominantly led by their offenses. And I think Vegas thinks there's not going to be much rust. Both teams are going to come out firing. And I think, for Titans fans, that are looking for a great, season kickoff type game, yeah, you got one. This is going to be a good one.
How did they handle what happened at the Kentucky Derby? How did the sports books handle that?
Well, yeah, interesting. So, legally, once they pay that money out, they're kind of done, no matter what happens. So Medina Spirit would have been, suspended and disqualified, et cetera, et cetera. Everyone who was paid out on that bet for winning, you don't have to pay the money back or anything like that. But, where it hurts is, say that the horse was suspended and you'd bet on, Mandaloun, right, who finished second, who theoretically would have now been your winner. Those bettors received nothing at all. So that's why, when we had talked about it, 2 weeks ago or so when I was on here, why, horse racing is not necessarily, done in every state that sports betting is. It's things like this. And I ran into this before. It's legislated differently. I'm not saying it's a dirty sport by any means. It's a sport that certainly needs a little bit of a cleanup. I'll say that.
Alan Bell is with us. Alan, I was joking with the guys yesterday. They started reading off lines for opening weekend of the NFL season, but before the whole schedule came out, it was trickling out some of the games, and there were already lines on them. I was joking, like, who in the world would place a bet now on a game that's not going to be played for so long? And we were going back and forth. We were laughing about it, but other than just the fun urge, it's fresh, it's new. Is there a smart way? Is there a smart play as to why you would do something like that? Make a bet now on a game that's not going to happen for months?
Not really. You're exactly right.
So you're with me. You think these guys are nuts. Anybody who wants to do this. Yeah.
That's a lot of time, right? Like there's all kinds of things that can happen between May and the beginning of September, right? But no, I mean, it's smart on the books because obviously, the reason that, they're doing is one, it's perfect marketing for them, right? And people are seeing that the numbers are out there. And then two, sports books, are kind of like anybody, in terms of, television ratings, whatever. In the summer, those numbers dip down, right? Because you just don't have, your fall lineups, your football, your things that really drive the needle. So, of course, like they're going to get those numbers out because they'll gladly, take anyone's bets and money that they want to, because essentially that's a 6-month loan, that they could just sit on the money and not really have to do anything with it. So it's smart on their part. But no, I mean, you don't really want to be betting on, any games because you're not going to see, any positive movement, so to say, at least right now. But you will see people who now will, place some money on futures, in terms of, say, the Titans winning the Super Bowl, the Titans winning the AFC, winning the AFC South, or, their line of, will they have over-under of 9.5 wins this year? You'll start to see those. But, yeah, if you're betting on an individual game, don't get me wrong. I love you because I'm interested as well. But, yeah, I would hold off just.
So, Alan, one thing that I know, especially, having been in Canada when the first round starts, right, and seeing the frenzy up there, for example, it's like the NCAA basketball tournament, right? You can't go anywhere without the TVs being on all the games at once. I don't know what the rules are up there for gambling, but it's a fun time to dive in right now. So this is now the first time, I can't remember exactly the timeline last year, but I don't think it was full on legal when they had the tournament last year in the bubble. But what do you think it's going to be like? The league has embraced, the betting. The one thing that's interesting to me, Alan, is, injuries. They're not talking about injuries, right? You're lucky to get any info on this, and that is something that I know if you're really trying to stay on top of it, you want to know. But what do you think it's going to be like this time now? You can bet on the game playoffs.
Oh yeah, it's going to be huge, right? I mean, you look at the NBA, the play-in games that are coming for the for the playoffs. You look at the NHL. I mean, these definitely do drive the market. So you're going to see a lot of NBA bettors that maybe don't necessarily watch the regular season, but they're going to jump in, immediately on that because they watch the NBA playoffs. You're going to see the same thing in NHL because you're going to have these singular games that are on in prime time, that are getting, a lot of run, both locally and nationally. All of that is definitely going to help for sure. So you're going to see people jump into it. And I'll tell you exactly where the money's going to go. In the NHL, it's certainly going to go on the actual games. NBA, it will, but you're going to see a ton of prop bets. Like the NBA is the king of players playing props in terms of, just player props, points, rebounds, et cetera, things like that. But the NHL, like they're going to get a nice little shot in the arm here. And good for them because people realize like the NHL playoffs are just some of the most fun games in any sport, whether you actively watch the NHL all season long or not. The Stanley Cup playoffs are just phenomenal, man. They're a ton of fun.
Well, we were talking to Greg Wyshynski the other day, and he talked about something that I think if you enjoy this kind of thing and you're kind of hanging out with your friends at the bar, he talked about, and that is like if a game goes to overtime, right? You might have 3 or 4 games going on a night. 1 or 2 of them all of a sudden might go into overtime, and you place a prop bet on who's going to score the winning goal. Like John Buccigross for years always puts it out on Twitter. He gives a T-shirt to somebody who gets it right. Like you put I forget what he calls it, the Bucci overtime winner. Is that what he says on Twitter, guys? You've seen
challenge.
It,
Bucci
overtime challenge. The overtime challenge, right? So you can bet on this now, right? You get the odds, I'm sure, on all the players. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Philip Forsberg or Sebastian Aho, who it is? Somebody's going to have good odds, somebody's not. But I would imagine that's going to be something the league really gets into.
Oh, it's going to be huge. And I'll say this. Have you noticed the NFL, that has done a complete 180 in terms of sports betting? And then, 3 years ago, they wouldn't even be a part of it, right? And now they're embracing it. Red Zone this year is going to have a betting, angle, on their show live. So it's because what it does for ratings. It boosts them. It shoots them up through the roof. So, yeah, absolutely. You'll be able to bet on that live right in games. And we were talking about player props. I'll say this. For anybody who maybe just casually bets the NHL or maybe you don't at all, their player props in terms of who scores the first goal, who scores, a single goal in the game, and then especially like you talked about in terms of overtime as well, we're talking massive payouts that you can get on these. If you can nail 1 or 2 players that hit a first goal in a game, especially in the playoffs, I mean, you're looking at plus 1,300, plus 1,400, somewhere around there. So it's a ton of fun. And you're exactly right. Doing it live, absolutely, it boosts every single thing because now you have that engaged audience that is absolutely focused. And if they're at a sports bar or wherever, and they're saying, "Hey, could you turn on, the Lightning game real quick? Like, can we have the Preds game on the left and whichever game, Lightning on the right?" Like, absolutely, it definitely drives numbers. It's been proven, and every league is definitely going to jump all over it.
What could you get on Matt Benning scoring the first goal of the series against Carolina?
Yeah,
that'd be a
probably
good
looking at a plus 2,700 or more. Like I'm telling you, man, like the numbers on it are tremendous, and it's a ton of fun because it's one of those to where literally you could sit there and play. Like me and my buddies, we'll play, $1, $2, $3 on it. You don't have to put much at all, but the payout comes back, 16 times fold back to you. It's a ton of fun for sure.
We're talking to Alan Bell of Sportsline here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. At what point do you think we see, now obviously here it's all online, it's all with the apps, but I was in Vegas a few weeks ago and I said to Rick, we were standing outside T-Mobile Arena, I'm like, it would make so much sense to have betting windows, right outside the stadium. I feel like that probably in some form, whether it's a kiosk or a true betting window, happens at some point. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. So remember, right now, it's online only in the state of Tennessee. However, there is a clause that, say you guys own, Derek, Don, and Chase Sports Bar, right? Well, you can't accept, cash wagers, at a booth right now. But what you could do is that you could furnish each table, with an iPad or something, to where people could place their bets on it, right? And you become essentially the first kind of, de facto place where you can actually do that live. So I'm surprised that we haven't seen a restaurant really take advantage of that just yet. But I say this, and we've talked about this for a couple of years now. You want to make money for the state and for schools and everything, like Thursday through Sunday, take the General Jackson, park it at the bottom of Broadway, make that a riverboat type casino. Just 3-4 days. You don't have to do it all the time. But the tourism and people that would go down there and just pump money, we would legitimately have every high school would look like Harvard around here in about 1 year. It would be tremendous money for the state.
Wow, that would be fun. Do you see a scenario where a brick and mortar sports book in the state of Tennessee happens at some point in the near future?
Let me say this. It'll happen after Bill Lee. And I don't say that negatively, I don't say positively. I'm saying, when sports betting first came, he had said immediately, he was like, look, he didn't even vote for or against it. He was just like, hey, I'm going to let the rest of you all vote. If it happens, awesome. I'm not going to fight you on it. If it doesn't, hey, I didn't have a hand in it either. But he specifically had said, during my time, we're not going, we're not going to be opening up casinos or anything like that. So I say all that to say it's going to take some years before that. But, just pay attention to, a state like Michigan. Michigan is a great example for Tennessee to pay attention to. And you see the money and the amount that goes back into the state, into schools, into infrastructure, things like that. Yes, it would definitely do some numbers for sure.
So let me ask you this. Right now, the Tennessee Lottery is the governing body, essentially, with sports betting. As it continues to grow, more books come into the state. Do you see a separate commission, or however you want to put it, that is strictly that's their job? Do you see that coming up at some point?
Yeah, I do. And I think that it's going to happen sooner or later. And I think it's probably going to happen before we even have any type of brick or mortar that are involved in it, because one, it's a whole different beast, for the Tennessee Education Lottery. And two, it's something to where it's going to take a larger group, that has a sole focused effort on it, because, I mean, look at the numbers, that we just talked about, right? And it's just going to take that for the entire industry here to take that next step. So yes, I think that you'll probably see that in the next year and a half, somewhere around there. I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Last thing real quick, Alan, since this is not an MLB market, I don't have any clue if you have any data, and obviously if you don't, that's fine. I just thought I would ask. Is there any data out there that says if this market is shown interest in betting on the MLB, even though we're not a market?
On betting on Major League Baseball, or betting on bringing it
right,
here?
This season?
Betting,
in this market?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you this. The easiest way to take a look at where any sport and how it's doing in regards to the state is when you pull up your apps. You pull up a FanDuel or a BetMGM or DraftKings or Action 24/7 or whoever that you use, and you'll see, the little icons for the different sports, the different leagues, NHL, MLB, NFL, whatever. Those are algorithmically set based on how much, it's being bet. So you could see, kind of a ranking right there of how much that they're taking in, because if they're taking more in on, say, the NHL this week, well, it's going to shoot up the list because they want that in front of you. And because people are, obviously are wagering on it. So yes, absolutely, people are, have been betting on baseball, and they will continue to do it. The Braves by far are the most bet team in the state, followed by the Reds and followed by the St. Louis Cardinals, which absolutely makes sense because those are your largest fan bases here. But yeah, people in the state are all over it, and the Braves take more money here than any team, and it's not even close.
Good stuff as always. Appreciate the visit. You have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Hey, appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for having me on.
All right, that is Alan Bell, Sportsline. We always enjoy our chats with him. The Predators' playoff schedule is out. We'll discuss on the other side to wrap up the first hour, but right now I'm going to talk to you about the big names that are headlining this weekend's UFC 262 card. That's right, from Tony Ferguson to Michael Chandler, there will be no shortage of action. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC, has a heavyweight offer for this weekend's fight with 100-1 odds. That's right, one fighter will be walking away with the belt, and you'll be walking away with some cash. And all you have to do is just pick the main event fighter you think will win, and DraftKings Sportsbook will give you 100-1 odds on that fighter. In other words, you're just going to bet $1 of your money on that fighter, and if they win, you win $100. There's no better way to put your MMA knowledge to the test than to put your money where your mouth is, and that's with DraftKings Sportsbook. Don't worry if MMA isn't for you. They've got great odds and promotions on basketball, hockey, and a lot more. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. All you have to do is download that app and use the promo code 1025GAME when you sign up and turn $1 into $100. And remember, all you have to do is bet on the main card fighter to win, and when they do, guess what? You win. Use that code again, 1025TheGame. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. This is for a limited time, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. You must be 21 years of age or older, Tennessee only. Restrictions to apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
From all-day talk.
You can roll with that team. That's good enough to win a lot of football games.
To the biggest games.
The Los Angeles Dodgers have won the World Series for the first time since 1988.
Nashville's best sports talk is always at your fingertips. Just search the Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunshine sticking around with us as we make our way throughout the late morning, heading into the afternoon. Temperatures a little bit warmer, topping out this afternoon with a high of 70 degrees.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Keep your home as comfortable as possible. If you have any issues with your air conditioner, electrical, or plumbing systems, call Lee Company. Our techs use visual findings and other technology tools to add transparency and clarity. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on the roof. We're here 24/7, so if you need us, call us. Lee Company. Call 615-567-1000 today or schedule your appointment at leecompany.com.
At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we talk to men about sexual health issues all the time. And the one thing we hear often is how erectile dysfunction often makes bedroom performance both a disappointing and intimidating experience for a man and his partner. If you're over 50, what I just described could very well be happening to you. ED is a performance destroyer. It ruins your confidence and makes what should be a wonderful time of intimacy both stressful and unfulfilling. If this is a problem in your life, the Tennessee Men's Clinic can likely change your situation dramatically. And I say this with confidence because the Tennessee Men's Clinic has helped thousands of men with treatments that have success rates as high as 90%. In fact, many patients are performing like they haven't in years. So make an appointment today. For just $99, you'll get a consult, blood work, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Contact your doctor if an erection lasts more than 4 hours. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra, results vary.
Zines First is the official sign company for 1025 The Game. Go to sfnash.com. Sorry to interrupt your jams, murder mystery podcasts, or motivational beach noises, but we got something else you might like to hear. It's called cash. That's the sound of an extra $250 after your first 10 deliveries with Uber Eats. That's right, an extra $250 on top of all the other cash you'll make during those first 10 deliveries. If that sounds good, visit t.uber.com/extra250. Uber Eats, deliver with us. Limited time offer, terms apply. See t.uber.com/extra250 for more details.
Robbie Stanley.
The two teams that we've wanted to see play and clash for a long time.
Joe Rexrode.
I think there's a good chance that we have a really, really good game.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. If you've missed any of today's show, just search Darren, Daunic, and Chase on Apple, Spotify, or on your favorite podcast platform.
Good stuff there from Alan Bell. Man, we always like talking to him. And how about him rolling with the punches at the beginning? You got to love that. By the way, don't forget to listen to the game every weekday for your chance to win $1,000. Yes, it's the game's 1K payday presented by the Kentucky Kingdom and Hurricane Bay. All you have to do is listen for keywords at 9 a.m. That's Robbie and Rexrode. Noon right here on this show, Darren, Daunic, and Chase. And 3 p.m., Stillman Company, where when you hear it, just go to thegamenashville.com and enter the keyword for a shot at $1,000. Elijah, back at our Wholesale Link Game Studios, powered by RumbleOn.com. Could you hit the breaking news sounder, please?
1 second.
I put him on the spot.
He wasn't ready, yeah.
I put him on the spot. I teased.
You did.
I teased.
Don't tease it.
We have a schedule, guys. It's actually out. See, when you ask Gary Bettman, and he listens. I said, Gary, can you get us a schedule? And he did, like 5 minutes later. So as David Poyle told us on Tuesday, our weekly chat with him at 11:15, he suspected that game one would be on Monday. And guys, lo and behold, the general manager knew something. He was on to something. Monday, May 17th, indeed, the Predators and Hurricanes will drop the puck for game one in Raleigh, and that'll be at 7 o'clock our time. So a 7 o'clock puck drop, and I believe they're going to show that on CNBC. But you guys are still doing first round, right? Willie, that's locally, right? Valley Sports?
Valley Sports will have coverage of the first round.
Okay.
Definitely for the first 3 games, 100%. There are a couple of windows that NBC has exclusivity to that they can grab. I think because of the markets involved, it's unlikely that they would take any. So just put it down. Valley Sports, where you watch our games all year long, we will have the TV coverage. We get it every year. There's always the people.
It'll be the same people, same channel. So it'll be just like a regular season game. Okay.
Right.
So Monday at 7 o'clock in Raleigh is game one. Wednesday is game two. Same deal. Same place, same time, same opponent, same thing. 7 o'clock on Wednesday is game two. And then they will return home for game 3 on Friday night at 6 o'clock. So 6 o'clock Friday night, back here, game 3, Bridgestone Arena. And then, so that's the last of the times. Sunday will be game 4. We just don't know. It's TBD right now. They only have done it for the first 3 games.
And if you're watching on our stream, we have that scrolling across the bottom of the screen so you can plan accordingly. We're here to help.
Thoughts by anybody? Anyone?
Well, I think
it's kind of what we thought.
It's what we thought. And if you, like you said, if you were listening to our show, you probably had this penciled in. But I think the dynamic that jumps out, as opposed to maybe some past years, is you have complete symmetry, complete rhythm to the series. There's no break in the series. There's no back-to-backs. There's no, hey, we don't, got a building conflict, so you can't play for a couple of days. It's going to be every other day. So you're going to get into a groove. And I think that's going to be fun, right? That's how, in a perfect world, that's how the series should go. Play, rest, play, rest.
Yeah.
Travel in between if you need.
The only time it looks like, no, I guess it's not. It's
every other day, no matter what.
Day. Yeah, it's every other day. And if they went all the way through, Game 7 would be Sunday, May 29th in Raleigh. That is Memorial Day weekend, correct?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you say Sunday?
Oh, Saturday. Sorry.
Yeah.
Saturday, May 29th. Sorry. Thank you.
You threw me off there. I was
Yeah,
like, whoa.
I should have.
We got
should have
issues
thrown
there.
you off because it was bad info. Saturday, May 29th.
I'm sure a lot of people are kind of, they've known for a long time. They've known for the last few days. It's Memorial Day weekend. If this series extends, people have plans Memorial Day weekend. For example, a high school graduation in our family.
For example,
there's a certain person we know that's got a
wedding.
Wedding ceremony. Yeah.
Yes.
So
and some other people have stuff other nature, right? Memorial Day weekend, you do stuff. So
the message is Preds in 6.
Can you guys? We got stuff going on that Saturday. Could you guys go ahead and wrap it up?
Hurry this along, please?
Can you guys go ahead and, in fact, just four games. That's fine.
Yeah.
Hey Sean, if you're listening, tell your people Preds in 6.
Yeah, we're gonna need you not to play a Memorial Day weekend, please.
Incentive.
Yeah.
Incentive.
Or 5 or 4, whatever. Whatever works.
Yeah.
Just don't go to 7.
Well, we are going to talk about the Hurricanes a little bit more to start the second hour. We're going to have their TV play-by-play man on, and we'll learn a little bit more about this Hurricanes team. Predators are practicing here in about 10 minutes, and we are inching a little bit closer to that game one. You do wonder, what is this time off going to mean for both teams? I mean, this is obviously the most time off in a very, very compact 56-game schedule, unless you had COVID issues, unless you had power outages, and bad snowstorms. You didn't have this type of time. You didn't have a week off in between games. I would say in the league, outside of Vancouver and Dallas, they're probably the only ones that sat for a week or more this season. I can't. Does anybody else come to mind?
No,
that's a long time in this. I mean, just think about when they went Wednesday to Saturday. We're like, hey, good little rest here, or two.
Well, and honestly, this is as good a time as any. You got to commend the Predators, right? They pretty much went through the entire season without any major shutdown of the team. So I know a guy here, a guy there, and I don't think you heard about every single one of them. They didn't. I mean, if you looked at the list, you would see the person on the list. They didn't really publicize it for the most part, other than a guy here or a guy there. They didn't have any issues with the virus. Nothing major, I should say, right? Nothing that shut the team down and team activities where they missed a game, stuff like that. So they did a good job. They navigated. We weren't sure when the season started that could happen, right? Especially right off the bat when Dallas announced before the season even started that, we can't start. So now they've announced that they've hit the 85% vaccination group mark that teams are shooting for to be able to relax some of the very, very strict standards that Robin Leonard was, going public with before they got to this point.
Yep.
Right. I mean, it was hard. Those guys, they couldn't leave your room, right? You're going on a road trip and you can't go anywhere. Literally, like it's from your room to the meal, to the bus, to the rink. So
does that mean now they can do a little bit?
They can do some more gathering now. They can gather as a group a little more freely. I still think there's still some strict protocols, but they have loosened up some. They went public with it. I think you can read, and we can ask Elliot about it at 1:00. But they've now announced that, and most of the teams are now saying, "Yeah, we're at 85%. We've been at 85%." So that's a good thing.
We'll get into a variety of things with Elliot, including the Rangers completely cleaning house, head coach, 3 assistants, president, general manager. I think I saw, what was it? One coach survived. Like, how awkward is that? Was it the goalie coach? I think the goalie coach survived.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, I was like, how awkward. I was like, oh, I wonder what he did to survive. But anyway,
He walks in. Hey, where is everybody?
where in the world? It's quiet around here today. Where is everybody? Hello, anybody here? Oh, you didn't hear? What? Also, what's going on in Columbus? What's next for Torts? He says he wants to keep coaching. So we'll get into all kinds of things, and of course, all these matchups.
So what's open officially now? Arizona's going to be open. The Rangers are open. Is that it? Officially?
Say that again.
The jobs that are officially open. Well, Columbus, obviously. But Rangers, Arizona,
Seattle. That's a big one.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think of potential landing spots.
The guy I'd be calling would be Rick Tocchet. Rick Tocchet is the
for
guy
Seattle.
Any of
who
those
are you talking
teams.
about?
Any of those teams. To me, Rick Tocchet is a tremendous coach that has been turning water into wine the best he can in a really brutal situation in Arizona.
Sure.
Oh, from a bad organization?
100%.
Oh, yeah.
It was a mutual parting, right? They were kind of like, hey, we want to go in a different direction. And he was kind of saying, good, go in a different direction.
He should stick it out, right? Right? He shouldn't leave. That's giving up. Stick it out.
I mean, shouldn't Seattle also consider Gerard Gallant since he just did this with Vegas?
That's a good thought.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Of course, remember Ron Francis, who built a lot of the foundation for this Hurricanes team that we're going to be talking about in a couple minutes here. He's got some guys that I'm sure from his background that he's had his eye on for a while. So it'll be interesting.
There's a lot of attractive candidates out there. Honestly, there's going to be a lot of interest. There's some names out. By the way, Boudreaux wants to get back in. Is anybody going to show any interest in him?
There's another guy who's won a lot of games. Do you want to go, established guy that's got a huge track record? Or do you want to go new? Like David Quinn is a good coach. From the college ranks, came up through.
Sure. Phil Housley. I mean, he's out there.
That's another category, right? A guy that maybe didn't do great in his first trial, but in a tough situation.
Buffalo. But what, baby? It's a bad organization.
Well, what you've come to find out is, as we know, there's more qualified candidates than there are spots open. So there'll be a lot of choices.
I mean, Jack Eichel doesn't exactly scream Buffalo Sabres are a well-oiled machine.
Well, Jack Eichel, we got to start the conversation with Elliott on that one.
Well, yeah, think about what he said. I mean, does that scream, hey, we know what we're doing?
Well, you've got that, and you've also got Jack Eichel with, the Tim Hasselbeck. You ever hear a guy say, bad back, not a big deal?
Yeah.
He's got a bad back.
Right.
You ever hear anybody say, I used to have a bad back?
Yeah, right. He's an incredible player, but, what would you give up? I mean, people are going to line up to try to make an offer for him, but how does that affect the offer if this guy's got to have back surgery?
Yep. The Titans have signed their first-round draft pick, Caleb Farley, to a 13.
Speaking of guys who have had back issues,
13. Yeah, good segue, right? $13.5 million fully guaranteed rookie deal that includes just over $7 million in signing bonus, according to Aaron Wilson.
Oh, that's good.
So how about
they were able to get that done.
Yep. We'll come back. We'll start the second hour of Darren, Daunic, and Chase with the Canes TV play-by-play man. We'll talk about game one that is now officially set. It's out there. Monday night in Raleigh. We'll do that on the other side. You listen to Darren, Daunic, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
This is Ryan Ellis, and this is Smashville. Out to EOC now. Ellis, what's over the score? Ryan Ellis hammers one home on the power play.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, Sounds fans, Jeff Hem here at First Horizon Park with your Sounds update on ESPN Nashville. Sounds and Redbirds continue their 6-game series tonight in the Music City. First pitch at 6:35, and each team has taken a game. The Sounds throttled the Redbirds last night. 9 runs on 12 hits in a 9-6 win. Dustin Peterson broke a tie in the third. Here's the 0-2. Swung on, lifted in the air, left center field, in the alley, on the run, Hurst. He can't get it, that's a base hit. All the way back to the wall. Strange Gordon is in, lopes around third, right behind him, and he scores. Dustin Peterson drills a 2-run double to left center. South never gave the lead back. Hernan Perez had 3 RBIs. D. Strange Gordon homered, and the Sounds improved to 4-3. 6:20 the pregame tonight, 6:35 first pitch on ESPN 94.9. This is Jeff Hem with your Sounds update on ESPN Nashville.
Betting fans, want great up-to-the-minute information to wager your next bet? Tune in for Moneyline every Friday night at 6 p.m. on 102.5 The Game. Chase McCabe and Ryan Porth will give you an hour of betting information. Brought to you by Twin Spires. Download their betting app today.
This is Stan Harrison, CEO of Apple Collision Centers. We understand that no one likes to deal with auto body repair and the inconvenience it becomes in your day-to-day life. I want to personally invite you to stop by and let our experienced staff see how we can help you make your vehicle look good as new. Apple Collision Center has 3 convenient locations: Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin, ready to serve you. Come by and see us or visit us online at applecollisioncenters.com.
Looking for a big diamond? Genesis Diamonds introduces our Elite Collection. These are large, rare diamonds in the top 1% of the world. 3 carat, 4 carat, 5 carat, up to 10 carat precious diamonds for the most discriminating buyers who appreciate quality. Genesis owners travel worldwide, tapping a vast network of diamond cutters, carefully hand-selecting each of these remarkable diamonds. We invite you to view this premium collection of GIA-certified diamonds, rounds, cushion cuts, emerald cuts, even fancy colored diamonds in size and quality never before seen here. And to showcase these exquisite stones, only Genesis has the finest handcrafted rings from all the world-class designers. If this is the year you're upgrading her original diamonds, or you just want to go big for the first time, no need to travel to New York or Los Angeles or Antwerp. Genesis Diamonds' elite collection of large, precious diamonds is here in Nashville. Genesis Diamonds, voted year after year best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FMP Grove, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUC HD2 Laverne, online at thegaynashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Wholesaling Studios, powered by Rumbleon.com. It's time for Darren, Daunic, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Second hour, Darren, Daunic, and Chase on this gorgeous Thursday here in Middle Tennessee. Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, Chase McCabe with you. It's been set. We finally know the days. Game 1 in Raleigh, Monday night. Excited about that. Games 1 and 2, of course, in Raleigh. It'll be Monday and Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock our time. With all that being said, let's bring in TV play-by-play man Mike Maniscalco. He's with us, Hurricanes play-by-play guy. Mike, how you doing?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me. And by the way, aren't we all just happy we know there are actual days that games will be played? Was that not the longest thing that we've ever had to wait for from the NHL? That was unbelievable.
Our joke this morning, Mike, was we can bet on week 1 of the NFL right now in September before we know when the playoffs begin in the NHL.
Yeah.
We know the NFL schedule before we know the NHL schedule. That makes no sense.
Well, I mean, we knew what the matchup was going to be, and we knew that there were going to be at some point in time games played. So now we know. Let's get to it.
What did you guys learn on your end coming into those final 2 games where Carolina was 6-0 against the Predators, And Nashville took the final 2 games in the regular season, albeit the Monday night game, we know a lot of bodies on both sides, regulars not in the lineup. But what did you learn as a whole in that 72-hour window where the Predators took 2?
All right. Well, let's work backwards on it and go from the Monday game where you said it was a game that really, for the Canes to get to 82 points, that would be great for them. And, you want to win every game that you play, but that's one of those things, right? The Hollywood script. It's Pekka Rinne, what might be his last game ever at Bridgestone, at least in the regular season, wearing a Predators uniform. That's how that script is supposed to go. So honestly, I don't take too much out of the Monday game. It's what I take out of what we saw on Saturday. And it's something that I think we know all across the league, but in particular, the Central Division with these top 4 teams, that if you're off for a period, if you're not near your game, if you're not dictating the pace of how the game's going to be played, anybody can win. And the one thing that I've really taken stock in with this Nashville team as they made this run to get here, one, UC Saros is on fire. We know a hot goaltender can carry a team a long way in the playoffs. We've seen it. And 2, the Granlund line is one that everybody's going to focus on wherever Matt Duchene or Ryan Johansson is, but the Granlund line is the line that's really can be a difference maker. You got to have secondary scoring in the playoffs, and that line was really good on Saturday night. So those are the things that I took out of those final 2 games of the regular season.
We're trying to figure out, and we've asked a bunch of people, what trying to play coach, get in the mind of Rod Brindamore of who's going to look. You got options. That's a good thing, right? But somebody's got to be the first option in game 1. Who do you think, is best suited to be in between the pipes for game 1, in your opinion?
All right. You want the coach's answer or do you want my answer?
Well, since we're talking to you, probably your answer.
Both?
Or both.
So I'll start off with the hedge the bet answer. The way that the Canes have run their goalies all year long, I don't think it matters. I really don't. They've had a rotation all year long. And for the most part, it was Alex Nedeljkovic and James Reimer because Peter Mrazek missed a huge bulk of the season. I'm at practice, by the way, right now, so you can hear the pucks bouncing around.
We like the
Mrazek,
like the sound.
I figured a little Nat sound, pump up the anticipation a little bit more. For Peter, he missed the bulk of the season with that right thumb injury, but he got right back in. So there's been a rotation all year. So you can honestly say you could name any one of the 3, although the 2 goaltenders for the series more than likely are going to be Alex Nedeljkovic and Peter Mrazek. I say more than likely because it's barring something, happens unfortunate. But I don't think it matters for the team who they start between Nedeljkovic and Mrazek. That's the coach's answer. They're comfortable with anybody. And if they don't like what they see in game 1, they can always go to the other guy in game number 2. I think that when you start a playoff series like this, as good as Alex Nedeljkovic has been this season, and he has been really good, he deserves to be in the Calder Trophy conversation for Rookie of the Year. I think you give the veteran the start. I would go with Peter Mrazek. And for the Hurricanes fans who are somewhere for whatever reason in Middle Tennessee listening in on this, you go back to 05-06 when the Canes opened up the playoffs with Martin Gerber, and they had a rookie by the name of Cam Ward, who was the backup goaltender, and then Cam Ward won the Conn Smythe and helped his team win the Stanley Cup. So I think you give the veteran the benefit of the doubt, especially in game 1 because he's been there, and you let Alex Nedeljkovic settle into the series, like watch a playoff game from the bench. But honestly, that's my answer who I would start, but there is no wrong answer. If they go with Alex Nedeljkovic, he's earned the right to be the starting goaltender of the playoffs for the Canes based on his performance this regular season.
Mike, why has Vincent Trocheck worked out so well in Raleigh with the Hurricanes? I mean, it's not like he wasn't a good player with the Panthers. I understand that, but he started to slide. His production started going way down in his last 2 seasons there, but then things really picked up once he got back or once he got in Carolina. Why has it worked so well there?
Well, I think he's healthy. That's one.
Okay.
He had a lower body injury in Florida, and I think it nagged him. And, you're around these guys, they're tough. They want to play through everything. They want to get on the ice, and sometimes they get on the ice and they're not at their best. They can't give their best. And then 2, it's not that he didn't have talent in Florida, like you mentioned. It's not like he didn't produce there. He had players around him, but I just think that the players that Rod Brindamore has put with him, that mix, that fit, And for the most part of the season, when he was cooking, he was in between guys like Marty Natchez, who has just had a breakout season for the Canes on the wing. And, that first-round pick has been there. And then Nino Niederreiter regained his scoring touch. But it's also the compete factor he has. He is such a competitive person, and this group is all a bunch of guys who hate to lose. So you drop him in this situation for this coach who knows how to push the right buttons for him. And I think sometimes it's just fit. And I think that how this organization is, how it's run, what goes on in the locker room. And I will point again, I'll go back to it. I said it first, health. He's healthy. And for the most part this year, he was healthy. We saw all those points he put up early. So that's why we've seen Vincent Trocheck kind of return to that all-star form that he had in 2017. And he's a great fit for this team, from in the locker room to on the ice. He's one of those guys where if you could pick around the league, hey, who could we put in here in this role? It's him. Plus, he's a right-handed shot. The team didn't have much of that last season. In fact, Justin Williams was really the only right-handed shot that they had. So you put him into the mix when they acquired him last season. He just fits, and he checks a lot of boxes for this team. And whatever role they ask him to do, they're not asking him to do too much. They've tailored things to fit his skill set, and I think that's what's shown this year.
If you had to identify, because we've looked up and down this Carolina roster and what they bring to the table night in and night out. We know they're an extremely talented team. Obviously, they've got great speed, best forechecking team in the league. They check a lot of boxes. But if you had to say their biggest weakness, what would be, in your opinion, their biggest weakness? Because it's hard to find one with this team. It's, as we know, it's really, really good, but you see them night in and night out. How would you answer that?
It's when this is going to be, for lack of a better term, guys, not a clearly direct answer, but it's going to be when they get too cute with the puck, when they don't play that game that you talked about, when they don't put the puck in deep in forecheck, when they don't play a north-south game. So it's when they come off of what they do best, that's their weakness. And I know that that's not really weakness. You're just talking about, well, this is how this team goes. It's when they feel that there's a room to be creative and try to get overly cute. Now, that doesn't happen a lot, but that has happened with them. And I don't know if I can put my finger on it. It's like, I know people are looking for, it's the third defensive pairing, or it's the fourth line, or it's the penalty kill. It's nothing like that. It's honestly those moments in a game where this team comes off of what they do best. That's their weakness. And the thing that's been amazing this year, I don't know if you guys saw the stat, but before game 56 against you guys in Nashville, this team only trailed by 3 goals or more for 35 seconds the entire season. And that was after an empty netter in February against Tampa. So they don't come off it often, but it's when they come off of their game and try to get too cute instead of doing what, as you read off the checklist, they do all those things. When they do that, there's no problem. It's when they start to veer away from what they do best. That becomes a weakness, trying to get too cute, trying to get too creative instead of just playing the game that Rod Brindamore and the coaching staff's outlined for them. And that's pretty much what they did for 55 games this year.
That is a pretty telling stat for sure.
Wow.
Mike Maniscalco is with us. He is the play-by-play announcer for the Carolina Hurricanes on Bally Sports, kind of our cousins in the Bally family. We work for a lot of the same people. Mike, I know we haven't really ever met in person, maybe very briefly, but I just want to say congrats on your first season as a broadcaster. As you know, and I can relate, big shoes to fill when you jumped in there, and I think you've done a great job. But I want to ask you about Rod Brindamore, because you have an interesting perspective on him, right? You can go back a ways, and I read a story that you told, and I think it was to Sarah Sivian, who we just had on the show earlier this week, but you had a health issue, and it revealed a lot of Rod Brindamore, the person, right? So I wonder if you'd share that with us.
Oh, sure. Anything for you, cuz. That's how that works out. So last year, I was the on-ice reporter for the Canes and pregame and intermission show host. So I've been around the organization. I've been around the organization for a while in some capacity, covering them either in my days as a radio host and a radio reporter to now where I am. But last year, I had a really big health scare in California. And, like the smart guy I am, instead of getting help, Willie, in Los Angeles, when the EMTs told me to go to the hospital there, I'm like, we're playing San Jose tomorrow night. I'm going to get on this plane and I'll figure it out tomorrow morning. So I did that, and not the best idea in the world. So I end up in the hospital, and, the Canes play the Sharks that night. These are professional athletes. Rod is a head coach. He's got things to worry about, not as his sideline reporter, who wasn't there. Is he okay? And he sent me a text that night, and it's just basically, hey, we're thinking about you. Are you okay? And I told him, yeah, whatever this is, thanks. First off, I'm blown away that Rod sends me a text like immediately after the game. Like there's no reason to do that. And that speaks to the person that he is. But then he goes, well, whatever this is, you're going to beat it, and we'll see you back at the rink. And my thing is, if Rod Brindamore tells you you're going to do something, you're going to find a way to do it. You'll do that. So the thing for Rod is he is the most genuine human being you will ever meet. And he is as classy comes. And he has genuine concern for everyone in the organization. It's not just him or the coaching staff or the players. It's everyone in the organization. He knows everyone's name. He talks to everybody. He has genuine concern for those folks. And that's why when people will look to the turnaround for the Carolina Hurricanes the last 3 years, I tell everybody he will never take the credit for it, but it all starts and ends with Rod Brindamore and the culture change and what he implemented into not just being, great players and what it takes to win a title. He knows how to do that, but what it takes to be a good person, a good teammate. And those are the things that he has brought to this organization. And I can tell you that you get a text from Rod Brindamore and you're not really sure what's going on with your situation, because not to get too in detail about this, we got playoffs to talk about, guys, but I had a doctor come in and tell me there was a small basketball growing in my abdomen, and it's a tumor. And you're like, well, this has been fun. Let's see where we go from here. But to get a text from a Hall of Fame human being like Rod Brindamore in the middle of all of that, and then, he checks up on me during the procedures and during everything, it just means a lot. And he is a special guy. And as you guys know, coaching matters, and wanting to play hard for your coach matters. And he gets the most out of this team every single night.
Yeah, I love it. As you mentioned, you touched on it, but you're in San Jose. Like, that's a little far away from home. It's not like you can just call your buddies or your family to come over next door and be with you. So the fact that he checks up on you, that says a lot about how he is inclusive. I thought that was a great story. So, Mike, maybe another guy I'd like to know a little bit more about is, he's a superstar, but we don't, of course, in the Central, we appreciate him 100%, but league-wide, I don't think people realize just how good this guy is. Sebastian Aho is a legit superstar in this league. But what's he like to be around every day?
I'll tell you what, he is, as far as, checking boxes of what you want in a star player, I don't know which one you wouldn't check for what he does. First off, he's Finnish. So when he came over here, his grasp of the English language was small. I'll put it in that term, but he was willing to learn. And I'll give you a quick story on that. And it involves his running mate, usually, Teuvo Teravainen. He comes over, I'm asking him questions, and I can tell, and Willie, you've been there. You guys have all been there. When you talk to somebody from another country, you're asking them questions, and you're like, okay, we got to keep it simple. And right. I would ask him a question. He's like, is that a good answer? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. It's perfect. So I went over to Teuvo Teravainen, who'd been in the country for a couple of years. I'm like, is there anything I can do to make life easier for Sebastian answering questions? And Teuvo Teravainen goes, no, he'll figure it out. And that was just it, how he put it. I'm like, okay. So I asked him, kind of shorter questions at first, because I know that if I moved to Finland, I would not be able to grasp that language easily right away. So it starts from there, but he's so competitive. There's a ping pong table in the players lounge at PNC Arena. And he's the guy where if you beat him, he keeps playing you until he beats you. Like, no matter what game he plays, he wants to win. And then he's got a sneaky good sense of humor. But his drive and his work ethic in the weight room, on the ice, at practice, in the game, he has made himself into this player. Of course, he's a son of a general manager and a former hockey player, his dad, Harry, over in Finland. So he grew up around the game. So he's seen championships. He's seen what it takes to be a great player. But his drive to win at everything, it rubs off on this team, and his personality to want to win. Like, he doesn't accept a half-hearted effort from himself, from his line mates, and it really carries through. And you guys know, when your best players are your hardest workers, you got something special going. And he has been a hard worker for this team since day one, since this team drafted him in the second round.
Well, we've asked about two of the centers. Darren asked you about Vincent Trocheck, who is a huge part of the equation here. But I want to ask you, too, about Jordan Stahl, because down the middle, this is, as Darren said, there's really no weaknesses on this team. But Jordan Stahl is so important. And I was watching he and Ryan Johansson go back and forth in the faceoff circle. I think that's going to be a battle to watch within the games in this series. But obviously, Stahl does more than just that. But he does a lot of those little things that are so important.
Yeah, get ready for that because I think that's going to be one of the matchups that is the key to this series of which center gets the better of each other. Does Jordan Stahl get the better of Ryan Johansson, or does Ryan Johansson, get to that level that everybody in Nashville knows that he can get to? So for Jordan Stahl, the one thing I'm happiest about this year, guys, is pucks started going in the net for him, and he started getting points, because then people all of a sudden started to notice all the other little things that he does, that he's always done. He plays big minutes every single night against the other team's top line. He's on the PK. He's on the power play this year. He does everything you ask him to do. He's the captain of this team, not a real vocal leader, but he is a lead by example guy. He is the, first one in, last one out. And, when he does talk, it's the old E.F. Hutton commercial. When he does open up his mouth, everybody listens. And that's a good thing for this team with what they have. But it's the stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, or the stuff that the average fans don't look at. We all get enamored with, points, goals, assists, and now every single analytic metric that's out there that measures guys, and it's usually all for scoring. Well, his game is about playing heavy and wearing down the opposition. And he's one of these guys built for the playoffs. The longer the series, the harder the series, the harder he makes it on the opposition. And he's one of those guys you look at. He might not, in a first-round series, if it goes 7 games, he might have 3 points, but he might be the most important player for the Carolina Hurricanes, because you got to look at the other side of the ledger and see what the guys against them, what they did or what they didn't do.
We're talking to Mike Maniscalco, the play-by-play man for the Carolina Hurricanes, here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. And, I think all of us that cover a team or cover sports, you'll identify a player from another team and go, man, I wish he was here. I wish he was on this team. And Nino Niederreiter is one of those that I've always felt that way, just because he can score goals for you. He'll be in the dirty areas. He's kind of that perfect balance that every team needs. How important has he been to this team, not only this year, but since he's been there?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head about how he plays when he plays big and plays that heavy game and gets in front of the net. But he's one of those guys, when he's going, the difference between the Canes being a team competing for the best record in the NHL and winning the Central Division or winning their division, or, being a playoff team, it's no fluke. You look at him getting here, and this team has become a playoff team and had that a little bit of, not necessarily swagger, but that confidence and depth scoring that you have to have. And he's one of those guys who, when he gets on a roll, because he can score in a variety of ways. It's not just, stand in front of the net and bounce the puck off of him. He can score from the slot. He can score on the rush. He creates a lot of traffic out in front for other guys to have room for his line mates. So he's one of those players who, that's one of those trades. I know Victor Rask has had a good season with the Minnesota Wild, but that's one of those trades that you look back for the Carolina Hurricanes and say, okay, one of the turning points as far as acquiring talent via trade was bringing Nino into this locker room and what he has been able to do.
Do you think that, obviously we know defensemen here in Nashville quite well, but do you think that Dougie Hamilton gets his just due across the league like he should?
Yeah, I think he does. I think he gets the recognition for the kind of player that he is, the offensive defenseman that he is. He's in the Norris Trophy discussion. He was in it last year before he broke his leg in Columbus, and he's in it this year, and rightfully so. The points that he puts up, how he quarterbacks the power play, The funny thing for Dougie, I think it's a different side. I think it's once you earn a reputation, it's hard to shake. And I mean, you guys know this. If you play in Boston or you play in Calgary or you play in a hockey crazy area like that where, somebody 24 hours of the day has to write something about somebody. If a story gets out, well, maybe it becomes bigger than what it is. And there's this myth that, Dougie Hamilton about being a good teammate or something along those lines. I haven't seen it here in Carolina. I mean, he has been a model teammate. He has been a guy who the players love to have around. He loves being around here. So I think as far as the player goes, he gets the recognition because just watch him play. His talent's off the charts. I think the thing for Dougie that's been unfair is this reputation about what kind of teammate he is. And if you ask any guy in the locker room in Carolina, they'll tell you that he's a great teammate and they love having him around. So I know the question you're driving at, and it's kind of weird because I think the reputation and the recognition he gets is based more off of, that famous "I'd rather go to a museum" comment. Well, it's every now and again, it's okay to get away from the rink and go to a museum. But you say that in Calgary, you say that in Boston, and there's clearly something wrong with you, or you don't love the game. And I don't think that's the case. But he's going to be one of the guys you look at X factors. If he's quarterbacking the power play guys, and the special teams, the magnifying glass gets even bigger in the playoffs. If he's quarterbacking the power play the way that he can, and the Canes can operate on the power play like they did in the previous 6 games against Nashville before those last 2, he'll make life really difficult for the Predators in the series.
Well, I know it's going to be a lot of fun. And Mike, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. And hopefully we'll talk again soon during this series. It's going to be fun.
Appreciate it. And Willie, great to talk to you for more than I think 3 minutes we've talked before in the past.
Yes.
So I appreciate that, guys. And if you need anything from me, you've got my number now. So just don't do what the Toronto fans or the Montreal fans. Don't call me at 3 a.m. I mean, I'm usually up, but just don't do it. I have no idea what I'm saying.
They are a little wacky up there. Yeah.
All right. Have a good
All
one.
right,
We'll
guys,
do it
have
again
a
soon.
good one.
There you go. Mike Maniscalco, the play-by-play on the Bally Sports side for Carolina. Willie's cousin, as we have found out here on the show.
We're all cousins. Yesterday, we did a crisscross online. Kara Hammer and Chris Mason joined Abby Labar and Trip Tracy, the other members of that broadcast crew. That was good stuff. If you want to have a little more fun and a little more detail in some of the matchups there, that was good stuff yesterday. So we work for a lot of the same people. So we deal with a lot of the same executives, if you will, in the Atlanta hub. They have some of the basketball teams too, like the Grizzlies and the Hawks and the Hornets. So that's kind of those Southeast cities.
David White.
The Braves would be in this as well. Yeah, our buddy David White works with that group. So
very, very cool.
All the same family. We're all cousins. So I guess that makes me Chip Carey's cousin as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, that's not a bad cousin to have for sure. You're not a bad cousin to have either. We'll have much more coming here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Toward the net, the back end of the score! The Stanley Cup playoffs are returning to Smashville.
I'm happy with what I'm seeing out of the Predators. They're playing hard. They're playing together.
We've got you covered with the only Preds talk in town.
You're going to have your big players play really well.
On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The incredible tax refund sale is going on now, and Electronic Express is guaranteed to have the best prices. Huge savings in every department, including all 4K TVs, home and car audio, computers, smart home, mattresses, and more. Plus, save up to 50% on all appliances from LG, Whirlpool, GE, Samsung, and more. In stock and ready to deliver. Plus, up to 36 months free financing. It's the incredible tax refund sale at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Sounds Baseball is back. Catch the action at First Horizon Park tonight at 6:35 as the Nashville Sounds take on the St. Louis Cardinals affiliate. Throwback Thursday returns, presented by Budweiser, as the Sounds wear their classic 1978 throwback uniforms. For tickets, visit NashvilleSounds.com.
Buy from where the dealers buy at Wholesale Inc. in Mount Juliet, powered by Rumble On. They're rebuilding to be bigger and better than ever and are ready to put you in the vehicle of your dreams. They'll even trade or buy anything with the VIN number. Cars, trucks, motorcycles, motorhomes, boats, and more. Buying a used vehicle should be fun and exciting, not stressful and boring. For those reasons, Wholesale Inc. makes it simple to browse and shop thousands of used cars, trucks, SUVs, and more at wholesaleinc.com. When you're in the market for a quality pre-owned vehicle, buy from where the dealers buy. Wholesale Inc. on Eastgate Boulevard in Mount Juliet and wholesaleinc.com.
After a long, cold, miserable, snow-shoveling, polar vortex, frostbitten winter, the last thing you want to do when spring arrives is yard work. So here's a helpful tip to get you out of raking and reseeding. Advice on how to go golfing instead of whacking weeds and mowing the lawn.
Zoom across your yard with precision and ease on a new Kubota zero-turn mower. Right now, you can get 0% financing up to 72 months on certain models. Visit Coleman Tractor, featuring Kubota's full line of Kubota lawnmowers, utility vehicles, and more. Check out the all-new Sidekick utility vehicle with best-in-class acceleration and the strength to haul half a ton or tow a full ton. When your job demands precision construction equipment, Kubota has earned a solid reputation for well-engineered products that are reliable and deliver results. Coleman Tractor has 4 convenient locations in Middle Tennessee, Nashville, Clarksville, Paris, and their newest location in White House. Now through June 30th, see us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more info.
It's a seller's market, so why aren't more people selling? You could sell your Nashville home and make a fortune, but are you waiting because you can't find a home to buy? The Gary Ashton team has a solution. Don't sell without the intel. Today, you need a world-class team who can also get you into your next home. Over 200,000 people go to GaryAshton.com every month, so no other team has better Nashville property intel, including our off-market properties. It's the secret weapon that's helping us win the buyer battle, which gives you the confidence to sell today and get top dollar for your home. In other words, you can sell now, buy later, and relax. Cash in on your home equity now and get the best of all worlds. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. Remember, sell now, buy later, and don't sell without the intel.
ESPN's Turron Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
When I say options, I'm talking about drafting a player that could become good, but isn't right now.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely. That dude's a player.
Only on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
You didn't hear Josh Heupel yesterday to begin the show. We're going to replay that again at noon, so be listening. First time new UT football coach has been on these airwaves, whether it's this show or this radio station. As we said yesterday, first time we've had one on since Butch Jones, believe it or not. So be listening for that at high noon in case you missed it. He was really good. So Josh Heupel coming up at noon. Don't forget this season, catch all the action of Nashville Sounds baseball on ESPN 94.9. Tonight the Sounds face the Memphis Redbirds at First Horizon Park. Pregame starts at 6:20, first pitch at 6:35. Nashville Sounds baseball on ESPN 94.9, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans and 312 Pizza. Hey, they got on their winning track last night. Their first home win in over 600 plus days. 9-6 last night.
Got
over the
dub.
Redbirds.
Let's go. And
hey, they
Elijah
could
just
score.
called to our attention that Christian Yelich might be playing a few games for the Sounds on a rehab assignment.
That's right.
Hello.
Yep.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, Adam, you might want to go see.
Adam McCalvey tweets, Christian Yelich will go on rehab assignment with AAA Nashville beginning tomorrow, and the Brewers will reassess after the weekend. So he will be a Nashville Sound.
Wow. Part of that Brewer affiliation. Back to that, which is good. That's the cool thing about minor league baseball is when you get those rehab stints. I remember going to one, I don't know. In fact, it was on Mother's Day. I'll never forget it. And Barry Zito pitched for the Sounds. Remember when he was with the Sounds at the end of his career?
Yeah.
And like how cool that was. And
he played like the whole season though, didn't he?
I think he did.
Yeah.
I think he did. And Mitch Moreland was at first.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of guys, and there was one other name that I'm.
Well, I saw Trevor Hoffman.
There was like three guys that have spent have logged a lot of time in Major League Baseball. That I remember sitting there, and I was, Maddox was. This was probably when was that? Probably 5 years ago when Zito did that. 4 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, and so he was much younger, and I was telling Lauren, I was like, this guy here. And so that's the cool thing about it is when you get the rehab stint, or there's just a guy maybe at the end of his career, but that was really cool. In fact, I just saw remember I said when we were there at Third and Home talking to some of the folks at First Horizon Park, they're going to do things there. Did you see where they announced they're going to do a Rock and Jock celebrity softball game on June 3rd?
Oh, really?
Terry Bradshaw is going to be a part of it. There's going to be a lot of Titans players. Yeah, A.J. Brown. Taylor Lewan.
Very cool.
Let's see. Have we ever heard, Willie, of a celebrity softball game at a Sound Stadium? Let's see.
We've had that, and we've had also
a lot of good players there.
When I hear Rock and Jock, I can think back. I remember the original Rock and Jock. I don't know if you guys, Darren, you might remember this on MTV in the 90s.
Of course.
It was hysterical. It was really well done.
Yes.
And it was really, because that's the key.
Huge names.
Because that's honestly the key. You're referring to Jeff Fisher's celebrity softball.
Yes.
And the first couple of years of that were really good. I mean, huge crowds, great celebrities. And the key is making the game fun. Because, it's slow pitch softball at the end of the day. And, unless you just love softball, you got to do some things to spruce it up. That's where the Rock and Jock was hysterical because they did some corny things, but they had some funny people like Roger McDowell, who was the Braves pitching coach for a long time, pitched for the Mets, but he was the all-time prankster, and he had all kinds of stuff going on. And they had silly rules, you could do. I'm guessing. I don't know if this is the same concept as the Rock and Jock.
It was just announced, so I don't know. I don't know any details. But Terry Bradshaw, I mean, come on.
That's going to make it fun right there.
That alone right there is going to make it fun.
We need to try and get him on.
Yeah, we do.
That'd be awesome.
Let's work on that.
We do. In fact, the reason I said that is because Barry Zito is going to be a part of the crew as well.
Oh,
he's
cool.
Going to be,
all right.
Yeah, he's going to be a part of the roster.
You mentioned our major league players. We had Robert in Spring Hill said Don Mattingly was a Sound. Yes, he was, but that was as he was coming up. But I saw Trevor Hoffman. He played 2 games for the Sounds when he ended his career with the Brewers. And so when they were the affiliate the first time around, I saw Hoffman pitch. Wasn't very good, but I did see him pitch at Greer Stadium. So
well, who texted that in?
Robert in Spring Hill.
Well, and to Robert's point, I mean, we saw all the Milwaukee Brewers that turned into the good Milwaukee Brewers. We saw them all start out playing here, right?
Ryan
like Prince
Braun,
Fielder,
Ryan
Braun, Corey Hart, all those guys. Like for seasons, we saw them here, right? And
so
a lot of
that's
the
what you get. That's the beauty of
R.A. Dickey
coming up. Yeah, R.A. Dickey pitched the entire season for the Sounds, pretty much. Before he had it all come together and he became the Cy Young Award winner, right? He was still perfecting the knuckleball and had a lot of success pitching for the Sounds. Tells a great story about his time at the Sounds because he never got to the Brewers. He never pitched for the Brewers. He pitched for the Sounds for a year. There was a time in his book he describes he drove to St. Louis because they had him sort of on standby. And so they needed him there, but they weren't sure if they needed him. So he went to St. Louis. He's all by himself, hung out in a hotel, waited to get the call, never got the call. Drove all the way back, started pitching for the Sounds again.
Crazy.
So it was like Nelson Cruz.
And then, it just shows you the story of him, the perseverance, right? He kept fighting through it. And then the next thing you know, he's on the Mets and boom, he turns into a Cy Young Award winner and pitches for 6 or 7 more years in the big leagues.
Yep.
If you go back and you look through the history of the Sounds, you will notice a lot of names that have come through here.
Well, just look at your bobbleheads.
Oh,
if you've kept them.
Yeah, you can go right down. It's
I think Ben
extremely
Zobrist
long
played
list,
for the
especially
Sounds.
if you include not just guys who, like you were saying, like Mattingly coming up through the Sounds chain, Willie McGee and guys like that, but guys who just for one reason or another, put a Sounds jersey on for a game or two. The first guy I ever saw, and that was Dave Steve. You remember Dave Steve? He's like one of the winningest pitchers of the 1980s. I think he was second to Jack Morris in the decade. And he was trying to hang on with the White Sox, and they gave him a shot. He did. It's like you said with Trevor Hoffman. He wasn't the same as he was. I saw K-Rod. Remember Francisco Rodriguez, who was a tremendous closer for a while. He was in between stints trying to win a job back, and he pitched for the Sounds for a brief time and then I think ended up back with the Brewers.
Dave Steve. Everything
Bronson
goes back
Arroyo?
to the Blue Jays with you. Everything goes back to the Blue Jays.
Wasn't Bronson Arroyo here?
Oh, yeah. Well, he was on the way up,
Yes.
coming through with the Pirates organization. Yeah.
John
he pitched for a long
Axford.
time.
Yeah, they're
Well,
quite
we don't
a
want to
few
go down
names.
this rabbit hole. We'll be here all day because there's
Name your sound.
There's hundreds and hundreds. Yeah.
Name that sound.
But anyway, I brought that up because Barry Zito, one, is going to be a part of that roster. Two, like I said, it is cool. They're going to hold a lot of events at First Horizon Park. They are trying to do, I said yesterday, I think they announced like a BMX deal. They're going to hold other stuff there, which is neat. I'm assuming concerts too, right?
Oh, no question. Like, we
music
all saw it firsthand the other day when we were at Third and Home. You know, there is a tremendous scenic setting there, right? When you're hanging around in that area, they've done such a great job with that neighborhood, Germantown. It's a great place to hang out. And so I agree. Just going beyond the Sounds games, which are going to be great. You know, you get this weather we've been having. I mean, what a great place to just hang out at the ballpark. But it doesn't have to be baseball, like you said. It could be a concert. Could be. Remember, they had the soccer there for a while. They could have some other things too. Get creative.
Well,
with
I
it.
mean, that's the whole idea with facilities nowadays is making them mixed use. I mean,
sure.
The proposals. I mean, the soccer stadium. It's the same thing. They want to do more than just have soccer. The racetrack. They want to fix that up. Do more than just races. So you know, we've seen concerts and everything at Nissan Stadium clearly. So you can do more than just the primary use. I need to put somebody on the list for a second.
That's tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
I know, but I'm gonna.
You can't
I'm
wait.
gonna miss
4
the
hours
list.
away, man.
Can't wait.
I'm gonna miss the list. I'm gonna be gone
Tomorrow?
Yeah. I've told you this. I'm going.
You
to
just
Dover.
made the list.
Why are you leaving tomorrow? Oh, I thought the race on Sunday.
Well, there's a whole weekend.
Okay.
That I have to go for.
Oh,
so I'm leaving tomorrow.
La-ti-da.
JD on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Oh, great. 2 of our recently injured Titans participating in a softball game. Is there an over-under for injuries? JD, don't be a press pot, okay? It's going to be all right. They're not going to get hurt. It's okay. I get it. I understand. It's going to be okay.
You're saying they don't walk around a bubble wrap when they're not practicing football?
It's okay for them to do other things.
Well, I mean, look, it is, yes, both sides are correct in what they're saying. He has,
Sure.
I mean, look.
I'm picking on JD, but yes.
But, I mean, look, we've talked about this. We've brought up his contract situation, and they're not looking to move on from Taylor Lewan. But I'm just telling you, as we've talked about with his contract situation, which is very, very favorable for an out after next season. What is it, like $2 million? Against the cap. I mean, it's something ridiculous. Here's a guy who signed an $80 million contract, and he's got an out for like $2 million that goes against the cap for dead money after next season. He's going to have to stay healthy. I mean, he has spent a lot of time on the shelf.
No, it's 1.79 million
to be exact.
Is the dead cap.
I mean, Taylor Lewan is going to have to be upright and healthy next year and play
and
participate in, or not get suspended or not be hurt. Or, look, I think it'll be a serious conversation. I mean, no matter how much they like you, no matter how important you are, if you are constantly out of the picture rather than in the picture, as we've seen in the league, the team will eventually move on. They will cut bait and move on and say, we love you, bye. So I do understand certainly what you're saying is more than fair and appropriate, Chase. But, quite honestly, what JD is saying is
I
probably fair and appropriate too, because there is that sentiment out there from fans of, yeah, man, everybody loves you, but you got to be on the field, Okay, you need to help this team win. You're an important piece, and you need to help this team win. And I get it. It is a celebrity softball game, but
If
people will say that if you're a guy that's spending a lot of time on the shelf.
If he's
Well,
upright,
he's not going out to drive a snowmobile right down the mountain.
Well, let's
or
hope
no,
something
but
like that.
he is
Let's
coming
hope not.
off. I mean, where
Come
and
on.
I'm
It's
JD.
a-
I'm
it's a
giving you a hard
softball
time.
game.
I'm,
Like,
I'm
he
messing
can
with
play
you.
first base. All right, let's not have him roam center field or something like that. But it's a softball game, man. I think we'll be all right.
I'm giving you a hard time, but he is coming off a torn ACL, so I get that.
Yeah.
You know that it's like, oh, okay.
But it's
do you
been a
think if
long-
he's up?
he'll
Do you
be-
think
by
if he's
then-
upright? Right. Do you think if he is upright and healthy, has a good year, has a bounce back year, that they do consider an extension with him after? Because he would have, I guess he would have 2 years left. So, they'll let it run out. But could you see him playing beyond this contract, or because of,
I think he's
offensive linemen?
absolutely athletic enough and talented enough to do that. But I think you just have to see how it goes.
Well, because you're saying he's available for all 17 games and maybe beyond. That's what it'll take. I mean, for that to be in the equation, that's what it'll take. I mean, there's just no way. Too much high risk. Otherwise, if there's more, play some, miss some, play some, miss some. No, obviously.
No.
That's stating the obvious.
Should I loan him my Mets hat for this softball game?
I think he'll
Remember he was
probably wear
making
a
fun of my
bussin' with
Mets
the
hat?
boy. Oh, he was, yeah.
He's like, is this guy wearing a Mets hat? Remember? Training
I do
camp?
remember that.
Right.
I do remember that.
was
He'll
like-
wear a bussin' with the
I
boys
was
hat,
like,
I'm
yeah,
sure.
man. What's wrong with that?
Uh,
He started
J-
laughing at me.
JD has
What your point is? What's your point? At that time when he did that, a lot of people were laughing.
I
at
was
your
in
Mets.
shock. I was like, wait a minute, what's wrong with my hat, man? It's my team.
because it's the Mets. JD has
7 in a
won
row,
this battle.
Chase. 7 in a row, just saying.
I know. He's won this battle. He says, Prispot, LOL, yeah, you got me, man. Let's hit the cage or Top Golf soon. Well done, JD. Well done.
Okay, JD. All right.
He can take it. He can
Okay.
dish it back.
I like it. I like it. Good. Good. All right, we'll come
back
back.
and forth.
We will wrap up the second hour of Darren, Daunic, and Chase next.
From all-day talk,
The good shooters, you notice because their shot looks different. The puck just seems to be on the goalie quicker.
to the biggest games,
Open man is Devontae Smith, touchdown.
Nashville's best sports talk is always at your fingertips. Just search the game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Sunshine sticking around with us as we make our way throughout the late morning, heading into the afternoon. Temperatures a little bit warmer, topping out this afternoon with a high of 70 degrees.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the happy face drum today.
Nashville's home for the NBA is 102.5 The Game and ESPN 94.9. Tune in for the biggest games every week. The place to bet the NBA is the all-new Twin Spires, now live in Tennessee. Download the Twin Spires app today.
Need some cash for that home improvement project? Hey, it's Willie Daunic. Loan Pronto can make it happen with their zero-cost refi program. Now listen, Loan Pronto is now here. It's changing forever how you'll get a home loan with lower rates, no lender fees, and an all-digital, no-hassle process. You can refinance your home mortgage now and get cash out of your home's equity. People getting checks for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Now that's a stimulus check. Hey, rates are still super low, and Loan Pronto's all-digital platform makes it easy. They can cover your closing costs. Call now. Get cash out now to fix up that home office or remodel your kitchen or even pay off credit cards. Loan Pronto's zero-cost cash-out refi. 615-499-5780. 499-5780, area code 615, or loanpronto.com. 499-5780.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, not available on all loans.
After a long, cold, miserable, snow-shoveling, polar vortex, frostbitten winter, the last thing I want to do when spring arrives is yard work. So here's a helpful tip to get you out of raking and reseeding. Advice on how to go golfing instead of whacking weeds and mowing the lawn.
Zoom across your yard with precision and ease on a new Kubota zero-turn mower. Right now, you can get 0% financing up to 72 months on certain models. Visit Coleman Tractor, featuring Kubota's full line of Kubota lawn mowers, utility vehicles, and more. Check out the all-new Sidekick utility vehicle with best-in-class acceleration and the strength to haul half a ton or tow a full ton. When your job demands precision construction equipment, Kubota has earned a solid reputation for well-engineered products that are reliable and deliver results. Coleman Tractor has 4 convenient locations in Middle Tennessee, Nashville, Clarksville, Paris, and their newest location in White House. Now through June 30th, see us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more info.
This is Carl Sholin, St. Andrew Sewanee School Head of School. At SAS, students prepare for the challenges and joys of college and life by taking increasing responsibility for their own learning. Learn more about fall admission at sasweb.org.
Jared Stillman.
I wonder if second round might be where they address the starting tight end position.
And company.
I think he's someone that gives you that ability to not be so predictable.
Tune in Stillman and Company for your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Interact with Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
If you haven't heard, the Titans have signed their first-round pick, Caleb Farley. 22nd pick overall in the first round. Get him a little bit over $7 million in guarantees. It's about a $13.5 million contract. So I think that was the projections that we had in Spot Rack of what he would get in that slot. Remember, everything is slotted. Also, if you have not heard, Game 1 officially, as David Poyle told us on Tuesday, or hinted that it was going to be on Monday. He suspected. Indeed, Game 1 will be on Monday, May 17th in Raleigh. Predators and Hurricanes. It'll be at 7 o'clock our time. So 7 o'clock on Monday. I'll have pregame for you at 6. It all begins, the Stanley Cup playoffs. And then, of course, Wednesday will be Game 2, same time, same place, same channels. Of course, right here on 102.5 The Game on the radio side. Bally Sports, keep that in mind. You will be able to still get your local coverage for the first round.
Yes,
so,
do not be confused when they put out, there will be a national channel that it's available on. Do not be confused when you see that. You can still watch us on Bally Sports. And can we get a huge thumbs up for the start times? Not getting stuck with the 8:45 start time as we often have in the past. Got to like that, huh?
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Gotta love having some of these teams in the Eastern time zone working to our advantage here. Instead of the Central or, games out west. We've had some very late start times in the past with playoff games.
Well, it's been strange all season to have basically Eastern time zone.
Exactly.
Or
wow.
Central, Central being the late start. Yeah. Well, don't.
Because it's going right back.
It's going away. Don't.
Welcome Arizona to the Central next year.
Yep.
I know. I wish they'd take a look at this. Like, having Carolina in the Central Division with Nashville makes so much sense.
Well, Tampa, Florida,
Columbus.
But
Columbus.
What are you gonna do?
I guess they're all.
What are you gonna do?
I know. Just change it every year. Keep it interesting. Just spin the wheel.
I do wonder, especially in Canada, if they have really, really liked the Canadian division. I know the All Canadian division. I know at first they did, but like now that it's played through, do they still feel the same way? Would they want this? Moving forward, I don't know. Maybe that's a question for Elliot.
I was about to say we should have somebody on from Canada.
That. I know they like it, but I know that Vancouver and Toronto in the same division, that doesn't work very well. That's a lot of plane miles.
Well, you have to work your way to those destinations. You don't want to start there. How about you just work your way? Because that's a whole lot of travel. But I mean, Willie, what's different than Nashville to when they go to Vancouver, right? I mean, that is a long. Can you imagine?
But they're not in the
Florida
same division. They're not in the same division.
True.
They're going to go out there once or twice. They're not going to go out there.
Well, and
4
they're going
times.
to so if you kept the divisions how they are right now this year, but you added the full 82 and you go back to playing every team twice a year, home and home, you could do it. And I also think this format of, a 2-game series,
and that's what I was getting ready to say.
That's going to stick.
Now
in some way, that's what I was going to say. So what if you're 2 games? Because you're right. So you play each other 3 times. Somebody's got to host twice. So whoever is the host city between Toronto and Vancouver twice, when you go do that road trip, you stay there and you knock out those 2
You do
games.
it. Yeah, you knock it out. I agree.
You don't do it. In other words, you don't do it twice.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when the Predators go to the West Coast, they make 1 trip to the West Coast. That's all they need to do. Spread the schedule out where they come over here, kind of all in the same time, but the Predators go out there and they hit all those teams at the same time, because you're adding another West Coast team in Seattle to have to do that.
Well, that would be a really long road trip, because obviously some of them will have the 2 games here. But, I mean, just think about all the teams out there on the West Coast. I don't think you can knock that out.
Well, maybe you could do it 2 trips.
Yeah, probably 2 trips. Yeah.
Because you could do, Seattle. But you also won't play, like if you do where you play a team 3 times, sometimes you'll have 2 games here and only 1 out there. So, I don't know. They'd have to look at it. But I think there is something there with the 2-game series. Are you saying
we are going to dissolve the East and West as we know it and have just basically 4 quadrants again?
Well,
there's no East-West this year.
I'd prefer that. But I'm saying if you go back to the old format, like
it's kind of East-West, North-South, the way they've done it this way.
But I'm saying, like, if you go back to the old format, and so the old Central comes back, you add Arizona into the Central, which makes no sense. But that's what you do, because that's what you have to do. And you go back to playing everybody twice a year. And then also you have in your conference in the West where, they play the West Division. If you go and you're going to have 2 games, let's say in Calgary, then you knock out those 2 games in Calgary on 1 trip. So you only have to go to Calgary 1 time. So you do like they're doing now. You do 1 game, 1 night, take a day off, and then another one, or do the back-to-back like they're doing this year. No, it's done. You make 1 trip.
When we've asked Elliot about this before, he doesn't think it's going to happen. He thinks it'll go back the other way. I do think it's worth a lot of collaborating, deep thinking. Let's look at what the best parts about the way they're doing it this year out of necessity. What does that reveal? What do we like about it? What can you keep? And what do you want to not? But, as long as Nashville is in, quote, the West, it is going to, next year we'll go back to a lot of trips out that way, one way or the other, even if you do change it some.
I would not want that job. I was thinking about that when they released the NFL schedule and, NHL, any of them.
I do think 32, having 32 will make it a little more symmetrical, right? It'll be a little easier to do some things with exactly 8 in each division instead of what it's been. You've had an odd number of teams that creates weird scheduling, right?
Sure. So that'll help some, but I don't know.
And everybody's going to be lining up wanting to go to Seattle, including myself.
Yeah. Well, if it goes back to the old format, you'll get to go to Seattle.
True.
So.
Why would you not think? Well, I guess. Yeah, you will. I mean, right?
Well, the question is, would you go to every city every year? I think you should start with that. Everybody should play everybody else.
And I say
home and home.
Yes, the home and home should not go away. I'm in favor of more division games. I've enjoyed having the bulk division games. I think it creates rivalries. I think it's good for the sport. I think I would be all in favor of the home and home. Everybody sees everybody at their place in the entire league. But I personally, I liked, this is the old way. back when the Predators used to play 8 games in their division. I kind of like that, to be honest.
I'd be fine
like
with
that, but I do like the playoffs better when it's straight up 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, regardless of division. I prefer that, but that's I don't think I speak for everybody.
But I don't know what's the pushback on that. Why would you not want that? That's truly
the travel. The travel is what
yeah,
becomes kind of crazy.
Okay,
in that.
Fair. Yeah, that's a good point.
Remember
that
because remember the wild card. The one year that the wild card Nashville was in the Pacific bracket, and so they had to play the back-to-back series at Anaheim and then at San Jose. That was a lot of miles.
And they made a point to talk about it. Like it's look, we've all done it. Okay. It doesn't matter whether you're flying first class, private jet, or commercial. Travel is travel. It's real.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're doing it in the lap of luxury or not. Like travel is travel. It's real. If you go across the country on a 4-hour flight, it's real. Like it catches, and you're going back and forth. There's no way around it. Like it does take its toll on your body. And I know it sounds silly, but and maybe I would have probably been in that mindset of that's a little bit silly. Like, you're on a private jet or whatever, but going through it now, like it's real, and we don't have to do, like, we're not playing a game. We're just doing a job. Right. And we're just sitting there. They have to go play. Like it's a real thing. And so I do understand that element. Like the travel thing, I honestly don't know how it hasn't caught up to the Western Conference. I don't know how the Western Conference has had the success that they've had, because I would figure that the East has such an advantage with the travel, right? They do so much less travel than the Western Conference, but it really hasn't been this deal where we go, hey, the Stanley Cup winner has been like 12 out of the last 13 years out of the East, and it's unfair. They don't have to travel as much, but that's not been the case. Are you guys surprised that hasn't happened?
Yeah, I agree. 2011, it was Anaheim. They won the round for the first time. Then they turned around and played Vancouver. It was even longer flights.
Right.
Definitely you feel it.
If you didn't hear Josh Heupel on our show yesterday, you're going to want to hear this. That is coming up next to kick off the third hour of Darren, Daunic, and Chase. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
One of the Stanley Cup playoffs is on the horizon.
That's the goal, make playoffs and make a run.
Your one-stop shop for coverage of the Predators matchup versus Carolina is right here.
And he scored! Ryan Ellis! It's going to be a fun series. Drop check myself! I'm feeling good.
On Smashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We're vibing.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The incredible tax refund sale is going on now, and Electronic Express is guaranteed to have the best prices. Huge savings in every department, including all 4K TVs, home and car audio, computers, smart home, mattresses, and more. Plus, save up to 50% on all appliances from LG, Whirlpool, GE, Samsung, and more. In stock and ready to deliver. Plus, up to 36 months free financing. It's the incredible tax refund sale at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Do you want to have a 1K payday? Head to thegamenashville.com and enter this keyword, contest. You'll instantly qualify for $1,000 in this nationwide contest. Enter the keyword contest at thegamenashville.com. The 1K payday, brought to you in part by Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
When you get to be my age, you've seen just about everything. But the one thing I plan on never seeing is out-of-pocket expenses that Medicare doesn't pay for. And with Medicare supplement coverage from Farm Bureau health plans, I'll never be out of network, so I can use the doctor I want to choose. So if you're turning 65 and have questions about Medicare supplement plans, dental, vision, or prescription drug coverage, talk to a representative today or visit us at fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
After a long, cold, miserable, snow-shoveling, polar vortex, frostbitten winter, the last thing I want to do when spring arrives is yard work. So here's a helpful tip to get you out of raking and reseeding. Advice on how to go golfing instead of whacking weeds and mowing the lawn.
Zoom across your yard with precision and ease on a new Kubota zero-turn mower. Right now, you can get 0% financing up to 72 months on certain models. Visit Coleman Tractor, featuring Kubota's full line of Kubota lawnmowers, utility vehicles, and more. Check out the all-new Sidekick utility vehicle with best-in-class acceleration and the strength to haul half a ton or tow a full ton. When your job demands precision construction equipment, Kubota has earned a solid reputation for well-engineered products that are reliable and deliver results. Coleman Tractor has 4 convenient locations in Middle Tennessee, Nashville, Clarksville, Paris, and their newest location in White House. Now through June 30th, see us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more info.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FM Peterborough, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegaynashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Wholesaling Studios, powered by RumbleOn.com. It's time for Darren, Daunic, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Third hour, Darren, Daunic, and Chase here on this Thursday afternoon. Hope everybody's had a great day thus far. Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe with you. UT football coach, head coach Josh Heupel talked to us for the first time at the beginning of the show yesterday. Of course, they have wrapped up spring practice, orange and white game. Got a chance to chat with what he likes, doesn't like thus far, and here's what he had to say. Welcome to the state. Welcome here, and I know we're in Nashville and you're in Knoxville, but there's obviously a huge fan base in this market, as you well know. What has it been like? What has it been like since you've taken over in Knoxville, and here we sit today in almost mid-May? How's it been so far?
Man, been a ton of fun. A lot of growth that's happened here inside of our program. You get hired, you try to get to know your current players, you try to hire a staff, you try to get going in the recruiting front. You're building it day by day, and I just at the end of spring ball, I look back and I guess probably about 90 days at that point, and man, as a coach, you're never fully. I don't know what the right word is. You want to push forward, man. You're always pushing to be better, one day better. You're never completely satisfied with where you're at. But then I look back at how far we've come in that short amount of time too, and really proud of it. And we got a great staff. They're phenomenal people, phenomenal recruiters, great teachers of the game. They're about the right things. They're a huge part of why we've changed this culture so quickly. Just the connection piece with our players, and at the same time, as a staff, we're able to hold our kids to the higher standards, and accountability is completely changed. And the player buy-in has been phenomenal too. Our kids are competing at a really high level. I thought our last 4 days of spring ball were our absolute best, which you guys know, usually you get to the back half of spring ball, guys are just trying to get out and stay themselves and stay healthy. Our guys are learning how to compete, man. And you got a lot of guys that are here right now. We'll start summer workouts here at the beginning of June, but can't wait for the rest of our guys to come back here and be together as a football family again.
Did you change your approach to this spring than previous springs, or did you just, take the same approach that you've been taking in years past, or did things change a bit now that you're an SEC coach, you're at UT, and obviously bigger platform, just everything is bigger, not to diminish where you came from, but I was curious, did you keep with what you've been doing in the past, or did things change now that you're at Tennessee?
I think you constantly evolve year to year. You learn what works, what doesn't. I think it's different with each group of players, and that changes every year inside of your program. I don't care if you've been there for 10 years. You got to constantly evolve, and you got to understand your kids. For us in year one, I think your messaging may be a little bit different because you're on the ground floor of what you're doing. And I think it's really important that you're clear and concise with what your expectations are. You know, your players understand the standards. They understand that you're going to hold them to that every day. And at the same time, you always judge kids for who they are today, not who they were yesterday. And, you know, so you're constantly growing that way as a football program and as a team and individually as well. And at the same time, I think you look at what you're doing schematically, you're always going to be different based on your personnel. And so we'll be different than we were at UCF, different than the other places that I've been to. There's still an overall philosophy of how you want to play, but you got to put your kids in a position to be successful. I think that's really important. And at the same time, as you evolve and change and try to fit what you're doing to your players at your core, I don't think that I'm a whole lot different. Yeah, this is a bigger stage. That's why I wanted to be here, man. This, you know, one of the top 10 traditions in college football, man. You look at the history of wins here, top 10 in NFL draft picks. You know, just having competed against this, having grown up watching this program, understand, you know, what the expectations are and want to be a part of that. And the passion and energy that surrounds our program is really unique, and wanted to be here for those reasons.
You know a thing or two about quarterbacks. You've got quarterbacks to choose from, but what is Josh Heupel looking for in his quarterback? Ultimately, to get the nod to be Week 1 starter, what do you need your quarterback to be, Coach?
Yeah, we've had big ones, we've had small ones, we've had fast ones, we've had slow ones, really strong arms, guys that are just accurate, don't have a great arm strength. Successful quarterbacks come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. At the end of the day, I think they got to be extremely competitive. They got to have first in, last out mentality. They got to transcend that competitiveness through your football team. At the end of the day, I think your team has to have great trust and confidence in them. And I think as a coaching staff, what that guy that earns that starting spot has done is he's earned your trust, man. You're putting the ball in his hands. He is your decision maker. You've got to be an extension of head coach, you an offensive play caller, and it's a guy that you believe that can lead your program and win, help you go win. And you know, so, you know, we had guys here this spring that have done a phenomenal job of, you know, gaining a grasp of what we do offensively, how to operate efficiently and effectively inside of our system. There's a ton of growth that will still happen here in May, June, and July before we get back to training camp. But the guy that rolls out there Week 1 with the ball in his hands is somebody that's going to have earned our trust.
All right, before I turn it over, and I finish up on my end, I got to pause the football for just a second. There's like a huge baseball series going on. You know, Tennessee baseball's got it going on this year. You going to throw out the first pitch? I think you've already done that. How did that go? What did you think? We've done first pitches before. What about you? How did it go?
I did, man. Tennessee baseball's rolling. What a phenomenal atmosphere. The couple times I've been over to the baseball park here, just, you know, coach has done a tremendous job of building that program. It's been a lot of fun. We got a chance to, just before we had a Saturday scrimmage, we went over there on a Friday night and got an opportunity for our entire team just to hang out and have, you know, barbecue essentially, man, hot dog, hamburgers, and hang out together, watch some ball before we went out and competed with each other the following day. I thought I did a great job. They brought me in middle relief. It was an 0-2 count. I kind of came in the outside. I got him swinging. So it was a positive experience.
That's awesome. So are you going to have any involvement in this big series coming up?
My family and I will be out at the park for sure.
Okay.
At some point this weekend. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
We're talking to Josh Heupel. He's the head football coach at the University of Tennessee. And you mentioned earlier about changing the culture, and you know, we hear the words buy-in a lot with coaches, but you know where this program, you know, has been at, and now that you've taken over and you're trying to change that culture, what are some things that you've seen early on out of your guys that make you think, yeah, they are listening to this new message and they are buying in and they want to be a part of taking Tennessee back to where it needs to be?
Yeah, words are words. Actions are going to speak a lot louder. That's the first thing I told this football team as I met them after I got announced. And, you know, we had an hour-long discussion just in the team room talking about, you know, who we are, who I am, and what we're going to be about, but also getting feedback from them. And I think that's the thing that I've loved from this group is they are prideful. They do care. They understand the expectations of putting a T on your helmet and running out through that power T and making a right hand turn to your sidelines, man. It's important to them, and they aren't satisfied with what's happened here recently either. They work extremely hard. They are competitive. They want to be really good on the field. They had to learn what accountability looks like and that it's real, and that's what's going to be inside of our program. Those are things that they recognize we're missing. And, our first week here, I wouldn't put out the numbers here, but, man, we were not anywhere near what a Division I Power 5 football team looks like, just as far as who we are and how we interact and do the things the right way every day. But week 2, man, it looked a lot better than week 1, and week 4 was a lot better than week 2. And we're operating at a level that gives you an opportunity to continue to grow and go compete. It's not the words, it's their actions. It's going to class. It's going to your mandatory meals. It's being at rehab. It's being on time to your meetings. It's in everything that you do, and how you do anything is going to be how you do everything. It's important to us that we build these young men the right way, and I've seen that here in the 3 months that I've been here.
What are some things, we fans, of course, they want all the answers right away after spring ball, but I would say that any roster is probably going to be incomplete at that point. You're just starting the process. So what are some things when you get into fall camp and getting ready for the season that you saw signs of, but maybe you want to still see a little more improvement as you get ready for the season?
Yeah, I think as a coach, you get to the end of spring ball and you're at the end of April, and your players got a chance, especially in year one, especially with your young players on your roster every year. There's so much growth that can happen from May to June and July. You got a chance to transform yourself individually and come back a completely different football player. One, in how you change your body, but two, the ability to play the game at a really high level, meaning you start to understand your job in a completely different way. There's an opportunity when you get done with spring ball almost to sit back, catch your breath, and refocus on the football side of it, your playbook, what people are doing on the other side of the ball. You can become a football player that instead of thinking, you are anticipating and reacting in a completely different way by the time you get to training camp and kick off next fall. That's true for everybody on our roster at every position. We broke our spring down almost into thirds, first 5, second 5 practices in the last 5. And just to see our players climb at different positions throughout the course of spring ball, man, there's a lot of guys, if they can continue on that flight here through the summer, that have an opportunity to compete and play at a really high level next fall.
Coach, you had a lot of success as a player in college football at Oklahoma. How can you take some of your experiences, even though different times, kids are different, obviously, but take some of the experiences that you had as a player and try and illustrate some, what it takes to win to some of your guys now, to help them kind of learn and walk in your shoes and see some of the experiences that you had?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is when I went to Oklahoma as a player, that's a program that was down on its luck a little bit. They hadn't been to a bowl game for, I think, 5 consecutive seasons. The energy that surrounded that program was completely different than it was when I finished up as a player. Who we were individually and collectively inside of the locker room were completely different. How did those things transpire? What did it take from inside of the locker room to change the culture? What was the coaching staff doing that clearly communicated, the vision and the purpose, and the way that we were going to work every single day and who we were going to be? And that experience there as a player at that time and seeing the transformation of a program, I think is absolutely critical to who I am and what we're doing here inside of this program. And I think those are great, have a great relationship to who and what we can be and how we got to grow as a football program day in and day out, and ultimately start competing for championships again.
University of Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel is with us. And Josh, I'm just going down memory lane here. Darren gave you the baseball reference, and Chase just asked you about your career at Oklahoma. You guys, of course, for non-historians, maybe some younger listeners, 2000, Oklahoma wins the national championship. Josh Heupel finishes second in the Heisman Trophy to a guy named Chris Winkie, who was a baseball player before he went back to college to play football, so he was a little older. I actually played with Chris in the minor leagues in the Blue Jays system. So it was quite the storyline, Josh. And so, I mean, that was a pretty big, obviously any college football national championship is going to be, but there was a lot of build up to that. Just that experience of that game. Like what's your favorite memory? What do you take with you from that? Like even today when you go out and coach?
Yeah, man, obviously just a special year, right? With a special group of guys, that goes and ultimately wins a national championship. But, I think there's so many lessons that you learn. I think one of the great ones is even though we win the championship, right, it's so much about the journey, not necessarily the destination, man. All the things that you remember, the build up to it, and obviously, winning the football game. But it's the relationships that matter, man. And the build up at that time, if you weren't inside the state of Florida, at that time, the thought was that you couldn't win the national championship in some ways. And just a group of guys, man, that competed, believed in each other, and found a way to be really tough and believe in one another, man. And Chris is a guy that obviously, being at the Heisman together, and then you're competing against on game day. And that was an opportunity for us as a team to do something pretty special.
Josh, I'm curious too. You were talking about what you're looking for in a quarterback, and you say, a lot of college quarterbacks are not rocket arm guys that go on to play in the pros, and they can be tremendous winning college players. How does it shape you when you're looking and recruiting? The fact that you were not, a guy that went right to Oklahoma, 5-star, like the kind of guys that they're getting today. You went to Weber State. You had a different route to get to being a quarterback and winning a national championship. How does that shape how you look at players coming up through the ranks?
Well, I think you want to go recruit the biggest, brightest, and best that you can, right? At the same time, I think who you are as a person is ultimately going to dictate your flight as a player, man. Talent and not having the right mentality, attitude, work ethic is going to lead you as just the talent, man. And it's got to be about so much more than that. I think it's really important that you have people in place that can help develop the players inside of your program because I think that's critical to the lifeblood, man. And there's going to be some special players that come in and make an immediate impact. At the same time, you got to be able to develop your roster and guys that work the hardest, longest are the guys that ultimately are probably going to be the most successful too.
Last thing for you, Coach. I know every coach is getting asked about this, but it is becoming such a thing. We're trying to keep track of it every day with the transfer portal and things like that. How much of a challenge has that been for you, and how are you having to adapt to just the way the rules are going? I know there's probably a lot of good to it, but also some challenges to go with it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's about players and their experience, and we're going to support all the things that impact players in a positive way. The transfer portal, you've seen some of our recent activity in it. I think it's an opportunity for us where we're at as a program to continue to add to our roster, guys that can make an immediate impact, guys that are going to be able to come in, make an impact this year, but also develop inside of your program. And so it gives you the ability to patchwork some just obvious needs, but also just to continue to add to your roster. So it's been a positive for us here this spring.
If you notice, we waited till the end of the interview to ask you that because you never know how that question's going to go. So, hey, we really enjoyed the visit. Thanks for doing this. Don't be a stranger to our show. And once again, welcome. Thanks for doing this. We'd love to talk to you down the road.
Awesome, guys. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Towards the net, the back end of the score.
The Stanley Cup playoffs are returning to Smashville.
I just think it's a feat in its own that the Predators are in this position now.
We've got you covered with the only Preds talk in town.
If I'm part of the coaching staff, what gives me the best chance of beating Carolina?
On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
When looking for quality recreational sports in Nashville for adults, look no further than Midstate Sports. With over 20,000 adults and 3,000 youth participants, they're one of the largest and fastest growing sports organizations in the Southeast. Summer registration is now open for adult sports like softball, sand volleyball, soccer, flag football, kickball, and basketball. For a full list of adult sport offerings, check out midstatesports.com. It's no debate. Play Midstate.
Hey, it's Turron Davenport. You ever had to sit and wait for 2 hours or longer to get new tires put on your car? Well, you don't have to do that anymore. Call my friends at Freedom Tire Guys. They're Nashville's premier mobile tire company that does it all. New tires, balance, rotation, everything. And they come to you. Your work, your job, your house, you name the spot. Head online to freedomtireguys.com, fill out their tire calculator, pick your new tires, and schedule your service date. It's that easy. If you don't see something you like, give them a call and they'll find it for you. Check them out today at freedomtireguys.com.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics is conveniently located where you live and work, with over 10 locations in Nashville and surrounding communities. Houston physicians specialize in many orthopedic conditions, including common hip injuries caused by arthritis, joint dislocation, hip fractures, muscle tears, and tendonitis. Hip pain can make regular day-to-day activities feel almost unbearable. See how the world-class doctors at Houston Clinic Orthopedics can treat your hip pain and hip injuries. Visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
Bring everything up to speed with the Novatech Managed Office. Novatech's Managed Office portfolio consists of 4 key pillars that provide a unique, holistic approach to business technology, bringing together hardware, software, and services for IT, print, cloud, and security. Novatech's mantra: get it all, get it right, and get it now. From a technology partner you can trust. Let Novatech manage your business technology so you can focus on what matters most, your business. Learn more about the Novatech Managed Office and request a free Office X-ray technology assessment at novatech.net. That's novatech.net.
Later today, the series between the Nashville Sounds and Memphis Redbirds concludes from First Horizon Park. Coverage begins at 1:50 on ESPN 94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
This is Greg McElroy, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
I want to thank Josh Heupel for coming on our show. Hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. We'll find out. Challenge he's going to have in year 1 in Knoxville. I don't think it's going to be a quick rebuild, but certainly I think signs of going in the right direction are what people are going to look for. Things to build off of, and maybe it starts with the offense. If that Tennessee team can score a lot more points than they have in the past, I think that'll get people excited. The NFL schedule came out last night, and we've learned a lot. It was pretty interesting when I was looking at something on BetMGM, Chase. So I hope you don't cheat, because I was looking at the top 3 games, and this will get Willie really excited because he loves this.
Ooh.
The top 3 games in week 1 that already have been betted on the most. This is right up
Now,
Willie's
you
alley.
heard Alan Bell kind of bring the sanity check in. And, you know, Alan is about as enthusiastic as any guest we have on.
No question.
Right? Especially when it comes to this stuff. And he was like, hey, you know, you might want to dial it back a little bit on that. I was very refreshed.
Well,
to hear
have
that.
the week 1 schedule pulled up in front of you.
Yeah, I'm not cheating. I'm just looking at the week 1 schedule.
Okay. And see if you can name the top 3. See if you can figure out who's in the top 3. So far, the most the games that have been bet the most according to BetMGM. So in other words, the highest ticket count.
I do think Bucks Cowboys is one of them.
I mean, how right? It's gotta be.
Yeah. But
so
it's not.
far, it is not.
Wow.
I know. Who would not start there?
Well, maybe some sharp people are being sharp because you don't know what Dak is going to look like. You don't know. You got to take a look at Tom Brady in the preseason. Is he actually going to look like he's aged at all? Someday it's going to happen. He might not be until he's 71, but he will
the other
be a
part,
year older.
Kind of along the same lines of what you're talking about, Willie, is maybe the attractive matchup that you may look at may not be. It may be really difficult to try to figure out.
Yeah.
Line wise, odds wise.
Like, I don't think Packers Saints is on there because you don't know yet.
That's another one. Like,
and
okay,
you are correct to think that.
Shake out.
Yeah,
you're correct to think that. It's not.
What about Browns Chiefs?
Browns Chiefs is on the list. It's number 2.
Okay.
Browns Chiefs so far. That game has been bet the most. Do you have the line in front of you? What was it? Chiefs by 6.5. Is that right?
That
what was it?
I think it was 5.5.
Was it 5.5? Okay, it was somewhere 5.5, 6.5, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I don't. I just have the schedule. I don't have the lines.
Okay. Well, I know I went over that yesterday. I don't have it in front of me, but I think it was somewhere. I think it was around 6, somewhere around there. Anybody got another game?
I mean, Titans Cardinals.
I mean, that was like Anchorman? Question mark? Titans Cardinals? Question mark?
I mean, you're bringing this up for a reason, so yeah.
It doesn't work well when you've got 3 people that know each other really well. So it's hard to trick you guys because you probably know me all too well. Titans Cardinals is number 1.
Really?
Can you believe that?
To an extent, yeah. That's why I was kind of.
But what does that mean? So we did. So Willie, you brought up Allen. We did. We talked to Alan Bell right in the beginning of the show, and the state of Tennessee was the first state to hit the billion mark in betting. They were the first to do it, which says a lot about our state, right? That there's been a lot of action in the state of Tennessee. We were the first state since it became legalized November 1st to hit $1 billion in bets. So Titans Cardinals.
Well, the quickest, as I think.
That's what I said. The first.
Yeah.
That's what I said. The first. I didn't say they were the only. They were the first.
Yeah.
Titans Cardinals, and I also think it's a low line. It's like 2.5, and there may be real intrigue with that. Right? It may be one of those that the sharps are going. I see something that's a little off here. Maybe they see an angle.
What do you think they think would be off?
Honestly, this is just. I didn't say it yesterday. I don't have a great feeling about it. Like I
think the wrong team's favored.
I do too.
What?
I know. Okay,
favored.
so push back. Tell me why. I think the wrong team's favored. So tell me why. Why is it?
Why? Just look at the one team won their division last year. The other team didn't make the playoffs last year. It choked at the end of the season.
Yeah, but Kyler's going into year 3.
I was going to say, do we not think Arizona's a team that's ascending?
I don't know.
They appear to be.
Okay. They appear to be.
We know. I don't know if they appear to be.
No, I think they appear to be the biggest.
You think people are going to pick them to win that division?
I don't think so. I think people think that they are ascending. So
ascending.
I think people are going to pick them to make the playoffs.
Well, tell me who are they leaping over next year?
They
in that
added
division?
J.J. Watt. They added Malcolm Butler. They added A.J. Green. Come on.
Okay, all 3 of those guys are 47 years old.
I put it on a team.
Who are they ascending over in that division?
My biggest.
And Kyler, this just
you guys are ignoring my question.
No,
who are
I'm
they
not.
ascending over in that division? Who are they?
That's not a good division for them. That division is the toughest division in football.
But I think 3 teams out of that division, if not all 4, can make.
Anybody argue that it's the toughest division?
It's the best. Yeah, it's the
all
the best
more
division.
Reason. Why are they ascending in your mind?
I think Kyler Murray's really good, and I think he just gets better. I think he's just going to keep getting better. I mean, there was a time last year we were talking about Kyler Murray was in the MVP discussion. Now I get it. The season last year was 16 games.
When was he really MVP?
Like a midway through the season? Yeah. Remember after the Hail Mary over Buffalo?
The Hail Murray.
The Hail Murray.
Oh, I see what everybody did there.
Hey, listen, that was an incredible play. There's no doubt. He had his moments, and he's very, very good. But we're talking about a whole team here.
I think the biggest question.
I mean, I think it'll be a tough game, but to think that the Titans at home wouldn't be favored and the wrong team is favored, come on.
Yeah, but okay. Let me break it down for you.
What was Arizona's record on the road last year?
The biggest question for Arizona to me is their head coach.
Yes.
You know, can their head coach take them to the next level and where they need to be? With the Titans going into this, yes, they on paper made improvements on defense, but you don't know how that's going to work, and they have,
which is why you shouldn't bet on it now.
Understand, but just making this
You're
argument.
just going to keep saying that, aren't
You
you?
have,
Of course I am. I'm going to be the conscience. I mean, it's dumb to bet on this today. Don't bet on this today.
You
Well, it's
also
too late,
week of the
Willie.
game.
It's number one according to BetMGM.
I know.
They've had more
We got a
bets.
list of people that have already taken the bait. I don't know what's going on.
It only makes me want to do it more.
They couldn't hold it back.
You also lose two very important offensive weapons from an offense that was the best last year. Oh, and also you lose the offensive coordinator. So you don't know what Todd Downing's offense is going to look like.
Every team's got questions.
I understand. I'm making the point of why I think that Arizona, because you do know what that offense is with Arizona. I think Kyler Murray
really
in
good.
year 3 is going to be that much better. Nuke Hopkins in his second year with Arizona is going to be that much better. And I mean, I guess John Clayton told us he didn't think Larry Fitzgerald was coming back, but I don't think we really know. They could add him as another piece.
Is Derrick Henry going to be in the backfield for the Titans?
Last I checked, yes.
Okay.
That's the plan.
I think it'll be a good
That's your
game.
favorite.
I'm just I am just making the argument of -2 for the Titans surprised me a little bit. I
did
thought
me
that
too,
it could
Jason.
be
If
at
the
least
game
the
were in
pick 'em.
Arizona, I would believe you, but not when the game is here.
Okay, let
And
me
you
ask
got
you
number
something, Willie.
22 back there, and you're
Willie.
coming off an 11-5 season. That
Willie.
they absolutely should be favored.
Who's
in that
got
game.
more question marks right now, the Titans or the Cardinals?
The Cardinals.
Really?
Hands
How?
down.
Hands down. Really?
When's the last time the Cardinals were in the playoffs?
Okay, once you get past the coach, which Chase has already brought up, and we can all agree, Kingsbury has done no great amount of winning. So, yes, there is a huge question mark on whether Cliff Kingsbury can actually, coach a winning team. He can score points. We know that. But can he actually coach a winning team? But you're talking about roster-wise? Like, you have hands down question marks. What are the question marks involving the Cardinals?
But you're acting like the Cardinals have won the Super Bowl the last couple of years or something. They haven't done anything.
They were 8-8 last year.
Oh wow, 8-8. Whoa, they should be favored against a team that was 11-5 last year and won the division.
A team that lost a lot. They've
Everybody
had two new
loses
coordinators.
guys. Everybody loses guys.
Arizona didn't lose Chandler Jones. They didn't lose Buda Baker.
Ooh, they got
didn't
to
lose
8-8 with
DeAndre
those
Hopkins.
guys. Wow, 8-8.
They didn't lose those guys. I mean,
Look, you're not going to convince me.
well,
that
clearly.
they should be. You guys think they should be favored in Nashville? That'd be a little disrespectful, don't you think?
I think it should. I
Probably.
think, yeah. I mean, I think
Probably
like
so. They
1.5.
added James Conner. Do you think he can help the running game? I don't know.
What did he do last year? Nothing.
They added Malcolm Butler.
Did you have James Conner in your fantasy lineup every week last year, Darren?
No, I didn't have James Conner.
Okay, I was going to say.
No,
Well, there's a
wasn't
reason
very-
for that.
Wasn't very good, and he didn't play.
By the way, they hired Vance Joseph as their defensive coordinator. He wasn't a very good head coach, but I think he's a pretty good DC.
pretty good DC.
Ooh.
Was there last year.
Well, they should be favored then. I'm sorry. They hired who? Dick LeBeau?
Vance
John
Joseph.
Capers? I mean, who knows? Who is this guy?
What?
Vance Joseph.
Come on.
Ooh, Vance
No, that's
Joseph.
disrespectful.
Well, they should be favored.
Disrespectful.
You guys, I don't know what's got in your head.
I don't
You
know.
were
I don't think
surprised
you
that the
watched-
Titans are favored in their home opener, coming off a division championship.
I think
against
there
a
are
team
more
that was
questions with the
8-8 last
Titans than
year.
there.
How could you not say the Titans don't have more question marks than you said Cardinals hand down? The Titans have 2 new coordinators. We have no idea.
Well, you just got done saying the Cardinals have a new coordinator.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's not a question
I'm
mark?
sorry, one new coordinator.
Oh,
Wink,
wow.
Wink, 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 wink.
Oh,
No,
so that's not
he
very
was
many
there
question
this
marks
year,
then.
so he was new in 2020. So he's going into his second
Wink, wink.
year.
And, all,
Neil
and,
on
the,
our,
and the losses. The losses. I mean, you're just overlook Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith. You think that means
Every
something?
team loses
Smith.
players.
Dory Jackson,
good
Malcolm
teams have a lot
Butler.
of good players, and they have to make tough choices and turn the roster over.
They lost Vic Beasley.
You're acting like other
They
teams
lost
didn't have these
Davian
things.
Clowney. They lost Isaiah Wilson. Come on.
They lost
Do
Dennis Kelly.
We lost Dennis Kelly.
You can you can list stuff like this on every team. Every
Okay.
team has huge question marks. Even the Chiefs, they have question marks.
But you can't sit here right now. And granted, it's May. It's May 13th. And we don't know what the new additions, because yes, the Titans lost a lot. And then you look at what they added via free agency in the draft and you go, okay, you hope it all works out and it makes up for those losses. But we don't know.
Nobody knows anything, which is why you shouldn't be betting on May 13th.
I understand. Well, I'm not. But I'm making the question was asked, and I'm making an argument. I am sure. I have not. I do. It's a nice T-shirt. It's soft. I have not.
Looks like a high quality.
It is
t-shirt.
Old Navy. Love it. Have not placed a wager on the NFL as of yet. But
you were sending me texts from Vegas about futures. So you didn't do anything?
I was looking at. No, I didn't. I was looking at win totals.
You were.
So, and I'll say this:
why didn't you pull the trigger? By the way,
because I wanted to. Because one, I think those were pre-draft, so I wanted to see post-draft.
Okay,
what they looked like, and I wanted to see the schedule. But looking through the Titans' schedule last night, if you just go through it real fast and you play the game of WL, whatever, I think Vegas is all over it. 9.5, because I think this is a 9, 10. That's
agree.
what it appears right now.
They're
They are all
right
over
there.
it.
It's like 9-8 or 10-7. That's what it feels like.
Which is still weird to say. And Willie, we look at this stuff because we've spent the last 15 minutes arguing about it, and it's good content.
I'm not saying it's not good content. I'm just saying you guys are absolutely nuts to think that they wouldn't be favored in the home opener unless Ryan Tannehill is not available for that game or Derrick Henry's not available for that game.
I would
There's
not be
no way
surprised
that they're not going to be favored in the home opener against the Cardinals, a team that hasn't been to the playoffs.
Well, and I think the public's going to go on Arizona. They're going to take the 2 because they're the sexy pick. Yeah.
Why?
I kind
because
of
they're
why
the
are they
sexy
sexy?
pick.
You guys don't think the Titans are sexy. I think they're sexy.
No.
You got Derrick Henry back there.
Right, but I think that there are too many question marks with what they've lost, and until you see
the Cardinals are flashy, but they're not a good team. They haven't been a good team. Now they could become one, but on week 1 before they've done anything, like it's one thing if they'd come in 2-0, after beating somebody, and maybe the Titans are 1-1 or something like that. That would change the perception. But opening weekend, if you think a team that is maybe trying to formulate something, they got an exciting quarterback, should be favored over a team that has been to the playoffs the last 2 years and has been outstanding at home, then I don't understand where you guys are coming from on that.
8-8 in that division, because last year it was a damn good division too. San Francisco would have been right in the mix, but everybody got hurt.
LA and
8-8 in that division,
two playoff teams.
Not bad.
Not
and
good.
They got better.
Not bad, not good.
Okay, they're mediocre.
Exactly.
8-8.
That's 8-8.
That's what. But what I'm saying is, I think playing in that division
they
changes
had some
the
moments.
record a little bit.
They had some good moments, but they're not favored over the Titans. The Titans had some good moments.
Well, that line will change quite a bit.
Okay, so let's then quickly
September.
let's go through the checklist. Okay, who gets the check mark for quarterback?
Ryan Tannehill.
Okay, who
not
gets,
even close?
Chase, agree?
Yep.
It's not close.
Just act like it's a Grand Canyon where Rob.
It's close, but
it's not close.
right
Look at
now,
the stats. Kyler Murray is flashy. He's got highlights. He scores a lot of fantasy points, but efficiency.
he just finished year
Tannehill.
2.
He's
Tannehill.
year 2.
Show me year 3. Sure, year 3 is the breakout. Show me year 3. But Tannehill, yes.
Okay, but we should again.
We
who
don't
should be favored.
We
Who
don't
gets the check
agree
mark?
with your assessment that it's
Who
separated
gets the
by
check
10
mark?
miles.
Who gets the check?
Tannehill. We all agree.
Okay.
Tannehill.
So
gets
there's
Tannehill,
one reason
running
why
back.
you don't favor the Cardinals. Keep going.
Derrick Henry. I'm sorry. Running backs.
Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question.
Right. Wide receivers.
Give
Give me a break.
Cardinals.
Arizona. Give me a
Cardinals.
break. They have the best receiver in football.
Cardinals.
It's like not even close, Willie. Those words, not even close.
How about
Arizona?
How
check
about we
mark.
put it this way? Passing attack.
No.
overall.
No. Wide receivers. Who gets the check mark?
Cardinals.
Okay, I'll give you the Cardinals, but
you're not giving it to me. That's the answer. You're not giving it to me. You're like, oh, okay, I'll consider. It's the Cardinals. Period. Bottom line. It's not. It's really not even
playing
that close.
fantasy football. I'm looking at the overall passing attack. The passing attack for the Titans is pretty good. Very good.
With Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith that are no longer here.
Okay.
Yep. Tight ends.
TBA. We don't know who the tight end's going to be.
I don't even know who is
I
there.
don't. I don't.
Tight end. I don't even know their tight
I don't
end.
know.
Did the Cardinals use a tight end? I don't even think they use a tight end. They got 4 wide receivers out there. They're playing run and shoot.
They may go 5 wide. So you maybe.
They're
How
going
about a
Pepper.
wash? We'll just cancel that out. I don't know who. I don't even. know
JJ
who.
Watt may play tight end. Who knows?
Maybe he plays
He'll
tight
probably
end.
catch a couple.
Offensive line.
I'll take the Titans. Honestly, I don't know much about the Cardinals' offensive line.
I don't
know they
either. I'm
can't
just
run the
trying to
ball.
think. I mean, Kyler does have to run a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's his style. So
well,
I'd probably go.
He's a
Titans.
pretty good runner. I mean, he's a guy you kind of want running a little bit, but I know their running backs don't run the ball very well.
Yeah, their running backs. I mean, they have.
Well, Kenyon Drake was pretty good when he was there.
Yeah, they have Eno Benjamin, James Conner's there now. That's right.
Yeah, I just
Take a look at his numbers last year.
Chase Edmonds, James Conner.
So we'll give the Titans a check mark. Offensive line, okay? Secondary.
TBA.
I mean,
I don't think you don't get to go TBA on this one.
Biggest
Give me a
question
break.
marks.
No.
Big question mark for the Titans for sure.
No. The Cardinals get the check mark. There's
I'll
no
give it to 'em,
TBA
sure.
to it. Buda Baker may be the best safety in the game. So
yeah,
Kevin Byard's a pretty good safety.
he is, but Buda Baker
Had a
may
bad
be
year.
the best in the game. So check mark Cardinals for the secondary. Linebackers.
Malcolm Butler's with Arizona now.
Yep.
So. Linebackers.
They drafted Xavier Collins. I know, so he's
Yeah.
a rookie. So
Yeah, they have Jordan Hicks.
mm-hmm. I think overall, I mean, if I do defensive line, it's going to be the Cardinals. All you have to do is say
Well-
Chandler Jones. Period.
Sure.
End of discussion. So they're going to win all the check marks on defense.
They might win all the check marks on defense, but
we know it's going to be.
Did they
Mike
have a very
Vrabel.
good defense
Yes,
last year?
better than the Titans.
They
Yes.
have Vance Joseph.
Yes.
Better than the Titans, but their record was 8-8, so their offense was that bad, I guess.
No, their offense was fine. They played in a really good
Okay, they were
division.
fine, but they were 8-8.
Because they
I
played
don't-
in the best
see-
division in football.
And
they're
they
still
sputtered down the stretch for
Yeah.
some reason. Things happen throughout the course of a season. Injuries start piling up. Things happen.
Okay. I didn't
They're
know you
going
guys
to
were-
win
I
all the
didn't know
check
guys
marks
were
on
Cardinals
defense.
fans. So you
they're
guys
gonna they'll win the kicker battle too because
There I was going next. Kicker.
because right now Willie's kicking.
You
for
guys
the
are making
Titans.
such a convincing
Who
argument
wins
that
the,
they should
who
be
gets the check
favored
mark? Who
at
gets the
Nissan
check-
Stadium.
No, you just said we're. By the way, are you doing the totals? Where are the check marks? Who's got what?
I'm not
Matt-
worried about the check marks. You guys are.
Coach. Okay, it's going to go Titans. Check mark.
Matt Prater is the kicker for the Cardinals.
I'm just saying it's pretty even when you do that. When you go through the list, the checklist, it's pretty even.
This is the NFL.
The
There's
Titans are
nobody
going to win
that's
the
that much
offense
better
for
than
the
the
most part, other than wide receivers, and the Arizona's going to win all the defensive check marks.
Yeah, and speaking of wide
Who's
receivers,
got the best punter?
they added Rondell Moore.
Yes,
Who's got the best
kind of
punter?
a high
check
draft
mark.
pick.
Check mark Titans. Best punter. Give him a check mark.
There you go. Well,
Titans.
Best
punter
coach.
lives matter. You're right. That's a
Better
good point.
coach.
Already
Titans.
gave that.
Check mark.
Already gave that. Yes,
Where's the game?
it's in Nashville.
Check mark.
Any other ones? you
Andy,
can come
Andy
up with?
Lee's not a bad punter, but I would go Brett Kern.
So it's not-
What about equipment manager?
Check mark.
Titans.
Titans.
Better fans. Titans.
Titans.
Check mark. There you go. You happy,
Play by
Willie?
play.
There you go.
Mike Keith.
Well, you guys were the ones for that. I was really surprised. You guys are over.
I'm just
and
being
that.
honest. That's all. I really was. I mean, I think you are underestimating Arizona.
I am not at all. I'm not underestimating them whatsoever. I'm just saying the Titans should be favored at home in the home opener against a team that was 8-8.
If you want to figure out something to bet on this offseason, when it comes to them, let's do it. We'll come up with something. Okay.
Not on May 13th, the week of the game. Yes.
How about June 13th?
We got to have training camp. We got to see what's going on.
We'll have Elliot Friedman coming up at 1:00. We'll come back, wrap up the third hour next.
From working at home.
And at some point, you're going to have to draft some new blood onto the offensive line.
To working on that honeydew list.
It all kind of comes back together of everybody wanting to make the moves for the respective GMs.
Nashville's best sports talk is always at your fingertips. Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download it today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Our warming trend continues for the rest of the week. Sunny skies this afternoon. High 70. 70s back for us for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Ryan Porth here for TwinSpires Sportsbook. Happy to share that as a listener of the game, you can unlock a risk-free bet up to $1,000 for signing up with TwinSpires. Use promo code FREE1000 and you can bet with the Kentucky Derby of sportsbooks right from your phone. It could be playoff hockey, basketball, golf majors, or more. Just download the TwinSpires Sportsbook app today to get started. Void where prohibited. For terms and conditions, visit TwinSpires.com. Must be 21 or older and physically present in Tennessee. For a gambling problem, call or text the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Homeowners, if your mortgage rate starts with a 3, you can save a ton of money with Loan Pronto's zero-cost refi. Hey, it's Willie Daunic. You got to check out Loan Pronto. LoanPronto.com. It's all new here with an all-digital platform. They make home mortgage refinancing fast and easy with super low rates and zero closing costs. You can end up with a lower house payment with no cash out of your pocket. It's incredible. Loan Pronto makes it easy. They can close in 3 to 4 weeks with no paperwork and no big bank hassle. Loan Pronto can cover all your closing costs. No points, no attorney fees. In fact, most Loan Pronto refis don't even require an appraisal. So call now and ask about the Loan Pronto zero-cost refi. 615-499-5780. Do it now and even skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto. 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. No cash refi not available on all loans.
Hey, Commodore fans, Kevin Ingram here. The Vanderbilt baseball season is heading down the home stretch, and the Vandy boys are fighting for the SEC championship. Tune in Monday nights from 6 to 7 on ESPN 94.9 for Commodore Hour, featuring national champion coach Tim Corbin.
If that was on the radio, we like blaring that out on those speakers.
Social Furniture is your local one-stop all-furniture store in West Nashville with over 100 styles in store and new specials every week. Social Furniture has you covered. At Social Furniture, you'll never be hassled when you come in. Their friendly staff will help you choose the right furniture for your home. Social Furniture offers same-day delivery and free curbside pickups. Visit Social Furniture in West Nashville at 5412 Charlotte Avenue. Forget the big box store. Support local. Support social. Social Furniture on the web at mysocialfurniture.com.
Robbie Stanley.
I was waiting in anticipation for something to happen.
Joe Rexrode.
It's also 3-on-3. It's a little easy to score in 3-on-3. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can take this.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. If you've missed any of today's show, just search Darren, Daunic, and Chase on Apple, Spotify, or on your favorite podcast platform.
According to the Associated Press, the Pac-12 has hired sports entertainment executive from MGM Resorts as their new commissioner.
Interesting.
Do we think there's going to be a gambling element now in the Pac-12?
Well, I mean, they are referred to as Pac-12 After Dark, so for a reason.
I mean, that is an interesting hire. Somebody from MGM? So a total outsider. What do we make of that? I mean, I know you don't normally
that's not the
talk
first
about
time.
commissioners, and it's like have all this, but that is, you'd have to admit, that is a little bit of outside the box thinking by the Pac-12.
Wow, way outside the box. Don't you think? I mean, that's not just a little outside the box. Holy cow!
Just a bit outside.
You tried the corner and missed.
How are these guys laying off these pitches? Ball 4, ball 8.
I got to look more into this because I had no idea this was coming or anything.
This is just coming out, so we'll probably learn a little bit more about the reaction. Is it a good reaction? Is it?
Is there something about this dude we don't know? That he has a little bit more that it would meets the eye in terms of understanding of sports.
George Kliavkoff, is that how you say his name?
Sounds right.
Kliavkoff.
Move sounds like a gamble by the Pac-12.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
Well
nice.
done.
Kliavkoff. Yeah, I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. You notice I didn't say his name.
No, I've learned your trick. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting though that's what it's a 5-year contract. Received unanimous support from the Pac-12's president and chancellors.
Definitely a little outside.
You know what? I like the way of thinking or the outside the box way of thinking. Because if you had to, if you looked at the Power 5, excuse me, if you looked at the Power 5 and kind of did a ranking, I mean, when you put the Pac-12 towards the bottom?
Honestly, if it wasn't for what they did this year in the NCAA basketball tournament, it would be hands down, right? It would be, no one would say anything other than 5th. But they did make a lot of noise in the NCAA tournament, and maybe they got a little street cred back. But where are they? Was it enough to push them up over somebody? Probably not.
I mean, the Big 12 won the NCAA tournament, so with Baylor. But USC has not been what USC used to be in football. And Oregon has. Oregon's had their moments, but that's
Football has been a huge problem. They have not really been able to make a lot of noise in football. But ACC had a really down year, right? Other than Clemson, it's like you got a one team right now with Florida State, where they are. There's not a lot of Louisville's down. I mean, so you've lost a lot of firepower in the ACC when it comes to football. We know what they are in basketball, but even they were down in basketball this year. But is it enough to push? No, of course not. So I would assume the Pac-12, you still have to have them 5th, even though they got some credibility back after their success in the NCAA basketball tournament. But you can't just go off that one little sample and say, hey, they've pushed ahead of somebody. So yeah, they're probably in the pecking order. They're 5th.
Yeah. So I would think that, thinking outside the box, doing something different, that's what they need to do.
Remember there was a time and a place whenever they thought Larry Scott was like a genius and the greatest thing ever when it came to commissioners. The Pac-12. Remember when his star was as bright as anybody?
Yeah.
I guess so, but
You guess so? You don't remember when? I mean, honestly,
I guess I didn't follow it that closely. It wasn't.
You didn't really have to. Like everybody just was just constantly goobing over Larry Scott, constantly, and then it just kind of went away. And of course, their success went away, and that didn't help. But I'm just saying, there was a time when he got praised a ton. So they got work to do. They had a nice little jump or boost in March. But, they'll have to – he's got his work cut out to get the Pac-12 probably where they want to be. Because who's 4th? Who would they have to jump over to move up? Who's 4th right now of the Big 5, Power 5?
I think I would say Big 12.
Yeah,
That's kind of.
I'd probably go SEC 2 and 3 may be tougher. Big 10.
I'd probably go
2?
Big 10, ACC, Big 12, Pac-12.
And are you just saying basically from a competitive standpoint, or just the way they run the business, or?
I mean, I would say. I mean, yeah, it's got to be a little bit
overall
of
health. Because like the Pac-12, they dominate some sports that you don't pay attention to.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I think we're talking about
big
basketball and
sports.
football. Yeah, we're talking about the moneymakers.
Yeah.
And when it comes to networks, the SEC and the Big 10 are the two most successful, right?
Sure. And the ACC's still fairly new, but it's coming on. It's the same type partnership that SEC has with ESPN. But the TV deal that SEC just signed with Disney.
So I go SEC, Big 10, ACC, Pac-12. I mean, Big 12, Pac-12. That's what I would say.
That's what I would say.
We'll have Elliot Friedman to begin the final hour, but first, Willie, you're going to tell us about Lee Company.
All right, talking hockey with Elliot Friedman, the absolute best. At 1 o'clock, you're going to want to hear it. Lee Company, big sponsor of our hockey team in town, Nashville Predators. You'll see their display when you go down to Smashville. Over 12,000 will be in attendance for that. Playoff tickets are on sale. It's going to be awesome. Round 1 against the Hurricanes coming up. Schedule announced today. Game 1 Monday, and then every other day from there, all the way through perhaps Game 7. We'll find out. League Company's got all kinds of great services for you, including maintenance. And that means at home or in your business. If you are the maintenance person that represents your office, maybe you got a small business, maybe you've got a bigger business, but you're the one in charge, but your business does not have a maintenance team. Well, Lee Company can be that team for you. All you got to do is go online. You might be at your desk right now. Make an online appointment, leecompany.com. You can do so. They'll come out. They'll fix the problem. Whatever it might be, they've got the people for you. Same thing with air conditioning, heating, plumbing, electric. Do that at your home. Even ask about the home maintenance plan. It's something the Daunics use very, very wisely and have for years with Lee Company. It's outstanding. 615-567-1000 is the phone number. 615-567-1000. Or again, go online at leecompany.com. Lee Company, let their decades of expertise go to work for you.
Hey, this is Ryan Johansson, and this is Smashville.
Across the line, drops now for Johansson. He scores! Ryan Johansson scores shorthanded.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Blood Assurance, the area's local community blood centers, has a critical need for blood donations. Today and tomorrow, Blood Assurance is extending their hours to 8 p.m. at both the Clarksville and Franklin locations. This is in direct response to the area's critical need for blood. Plus, Blood Assurance will give $20 Amazon gift cards to all blood donors of all blood types from 5 to 8 p.m. And they'll have free food available. Be someone's hero today and donate your blood. Blood Assurance. Give blood. Give local. Save lives.
Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House in East Nashville is now open and back with their award-winning pizza. Try out Medium Mondays with BOGO deals on all medium pizzas. Tap It Tuesday with $2 select pints and kids eat free. Wine Down Wednesdays with half-price Asiago cheese bread and bottles of wine. They've even got half-price Bloody Marys and mimosas from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. And don't forget about their daily late-night happy hour from 9 p.m. to close. Boom Boss Craft Pizza and Tap House. Pizza, beer, sports. We'll see you there, Nashville.
Has she seen an engagement ring she really loves? A unique look from a top-notch designer? You won't find it at just any store, but you will at Genesis Diamonds.
At Genesis Diamonds, we work with the most sought-after designers in this country. We are proud to feature lines like Tacori, Verragio, Kurt Cara, Henry Dawsey, A. Jaffe, Jeff Cooper, Gabriel, and many more.
Since other jewelers can't get these designers, David says beware of knockoffs.
Often stores will result to copying or knocking off a designer ring just to compete with Genesis. And oftentimes you will actually pay the same, if not more, for that fake.
Why risk it? Genesis has the real deal. Unique, handcrafted, cutting-edge designs and award-winning craftsmanship.
So not only will you get the exact product you wish with the brand you trust, but at a price that you can afford.
Get her the ring of her dreams at Genesis Diamonds.
Every girl wants a designer ring. They don't want Joe in the back room to make a copy. They want the real thing.
Continuously voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at theGameNashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the wholesaling studios, powered by Rumbleon.com. It's time for Darren, Daunic, and Chase, with hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Fourth and final hour, Darren, Daunic, and Chase here on this Thursday afternoon. Elliot Freeman in the on-deck circle will join us here in just a moment from Sports Night, Hockey Night in Canada. He does it all 31. Does it say Sports Night? Yeah. Wow. Sportsnet. Sports Night did exist.
It did.
Doesn't exist.
Hello again, everybody.
Used to be a TV show.
You're right. It was. A little bit of both. As we did do have a little funny moment with a Sports Night reference back in the first hour. But Sportsnet, Hockey Night in Canada, 31 Thoughts is his podcast, does a great job. He will join us in just a moment. The schedule is out for Game 1, or Stanley Cup playoffs, Game 1 between the Predators and the Hurricanes. It'll be Monday night in Raleigh. We did talk to their TV play-by-play man in the second hour to learn a little bit more about the Hurricanes and what they're talking about right now leading into this Game 1 on Monday night. It'll be a 7 o'clock puck drop on Monday in Raleigh. And then same thing Wednesday night, 7 o'clock puck drop in Raleigh. And then it returns here Friday night, 6 o'clock start, Friday night at Bridgestone Arena. That'll be Game 3. So Game 3 will be Friday night at 6 o'clock puck drop, Sunday to be determined. No time set yet, but Sunday here in Nashville at Bridgestone Arena. So that's all we know. It's just the first 3 games. It'll be here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. So, an hour prior to puck drop, I'll have pregame. And then over on Willie's side, on the TV side, it'll be Bally Sports. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's good to actually have a schedule.
Well, a lot of people wonder, when's it national? So it'll still be your, what you're accustomed to throughout the season.
Sure.
On the TV side in the first round.
And I know people are still, even though the channels didn't change, people are still getting used to the whole Fox Sports going away, Bally Sports. So I know that's kind of been an adjustment for some people.
Hopefully only a slight adjustment. It's just the name change. Everything else literally is the same other than the graphics and such. So
yeah,
I like the music.
Forward to it. Yeah.
The music's cool.
You like it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
The Braves use it too, which, speaking of things not going well for the Braves right now, but that's okay. Still time.
We have some action on the Braves?
No, I'm just watching it. Charlie Morton was doing well and then took a gas can with him to the mound in the 5th, and now it's 3-2. It was 2-1, and now it's 3-2 Jays. So.
What I see on Soroka, he had a setback. Is that right?
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of how it's been lately.
Yeah.
So just can't quite get him healthy. But Acuna started things off with a home run. He's actually up to bat now. But watching Freddie Freeman is 1 homer away from 250, which would put him with Henry Aaron, Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones, Eddie Matthews, and Dale Murphy as Braves to hit 250. So that's kind of cool.
Pretty cool company.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. So
I'll tell you what, Acuna, he's something else. How old is he?
22? Yeah, I would say 22, 23.
I think he's only 22.
Boy,
Ronald Acuna.
No,
23.
Has he really turned 23? Wow.
In December, yeah.
He is so good. That star is. By the way, how about that contract?
Oh, yeah.
It's looking better each day.
Better? It's already a steal. Already a massive steal.
Because they got him for I think 8 years.
For what, $100 million?
Yeah.
Let's bring in Elliot Freeman, who's on the line with us. Elliot, how you doing?
Thanks very much for your patience, guys. I just needed a couple of minutes. We were taping something.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure nothing was breaking that we need to know about.
No, not right now. Not right now.
Let's start with what happened in New York. When you hear the term cleaning house, they cleaned house, literally. President, GM, head coach, 3 assistants. I think I was laughing. We were laughing earlier, and I said, I think it was the goalie coach is the only one survived. And what a strange deal that must have been for him to walk in. Hello. Where is everybody? Oh, you didn't hear? Yeah, you survived, though. So what do you make of what, Dolan the Dope has done as the owner of the Rangers?
Dolan the Dope, eh? Wow. Like
he's a
you
dope.
Guys in Tennessee, you guys are tough.
He's a dope.
It's interesting. Like I'm a basketball fan, so I'm aware of his history in the NBA and what he's done with the Knicks. But I think there's a lot of hockey people that really didn't understand, and now they for those of you who know or who go with Dolan the Dope like you do, his history, and he has generally left the Rangers alone. But I do think this year there were a few games against the Islanders late in the season where the Rangers got absolutely hammered, and I think he soured on it. I do think that Glenn Sather had some influence on this, that he felt whatever it is, the team was missing it. It's the skill versus will line. They had the skill but didn't have the will, and those games convinced Dolan that was the case. And so he made the coaching change, he made the president change, and he made the GM change, and then the GM made the coaching change, although I think we all believed that was going to happen, and it was just a matter of time. Even though Drury took a couple days to make the decision, I think everybody was expecting it to happen.
What opening right now, head coaching-wise, in the league intrigues you the most this offseason?
I think – well, that's a great question, actually. I have to say, I think, to me, the Ranger one is big because you're going to get paid and you're going to have a chance to win pretty quickly. But you know what? The other one I would probably say would be Seattle, because, it's a situation where the expansion draft is coming. There's a new expectation on what expansion teams can do after Vegas going to the final. And also, you're going to have a blank slate at a time when a lot of people are really capped out. So there's going to be some opportunity to do some things. Plus, I also think that's a wealthy organization that's going to put itself in position to win. So it's funny. I remember having a conversation once with a guy who was thinking about taking a GM job. And he said, one of the biggest questions that you have to ask yourself when you're taking one of those jobs is, do you really think you have a chance to win? And sometimes you take the job because there's only now 32 of them available and you really want them, but you have to be honest about your chances of winning. Do you really think you have a chance to win? And I think in New York and in Seattle, those are organizations that you're going to believe you have a chance to win.
Interesting. What do you make of Jack Eichel in the situation in Buffalo as a whole? I mean, just the overall blanket of what is Sabres hockey like? What's going to be the fallout, or where is this going? I mean, there's a lot of layers, I know.
Well, put it this way. I'm not a doctor, but I did stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night. I've done a lot. I've learned a lot more about cervical disc replacement in the last 3 days than I would ever think I would need to know. So basically what happened was Eichel suffered a neck injury, and he hasn't played since a game against the Islanders earlier this season. They had a conversation about where to go, and Eichel and the Sabres agreed to a 12-week rest period where he wouldn't do anything, but he'd simply see how his neck reacted to rest, and that period is up on May 30th. Now, Eichel has, as you would imagine, the best access to the best of the best when it comes to medical care. And from what I understand, and I can't confirm who the doctors are, but if they are who I think they are, these are legit brains. And what they have told him is about a surgery called a cervical disc replacement. And basically, so instead of having to get a fusion or other kinds of surgeries that, Peyton Manning had, that before he went to Denver and became MVP, there's something now called there's this process, and it allows for a faster recovery. The hang up and the reason the Sabres are against it is that there's very little evidence of elite athletes having it and coming back to play. Like where it's been very successful, guys, is with normal people who are active and athletic, but they're not playing against the elite of the elite. Like there's no NHLer that's had this done. It's much more common in Europe than it is in North America. Only recently has it started to get FDA approval in North America. There was an MMA fighter named Chris Weidman who had it last year and had 3 fights before he got injured in another part of his body. He's probably, as far as I've found so far, the most successful elite level athlete in a contact sport who's come back and been able to perform. There's another MMA fighter who had it last month, has resumed cardio, and his doctors have told him he'll be okay in 3 months. So there's some hope, but it's new. And the Sabres don't like the idea of Eichel being the test case. So what I think happens here is we wait. Like I asked Kevin Adams, what happens if, is there any chance the Sabres could change their mind? And he said yesterday, we're going to wait to see how this plays out. But the way I read the CBA, there was a change in the CBA when it came to second opinions, and it was done last June. And the way it reads to me and most other people who I've asked is that the Sabres have the hammer here, that they have the ultimate control on the situation. And I don't know. I mean, you can always grieve it. You can always appeal it. You can always try. But the law appears to side with Buffalo here. So I don't know where this goes.
Well, you aren't kidding. You have done your homework on this subject matter. Very impressive.
You actually seem surprised that I'm on
that's not what I meant.
Elliot Friedman is with us. 31 Thoughts. Always great stuff. So, Elliot, the Predators were among the teams that announced here in the last couple of days they've reached the 85% vaccination threshold, which will relieve some of the protocols. We've been reading about it throughout the season, but, just trying to think through what it would be like for every player to have gone through what they've gone through, basically just not being able to leave your hotel room on the road, spending so much time not being able to do the things that even us, you're still under restrictions, but it's not like if the players have really had some strict stuff. How much does this mean for the players, and exactly what is it they'll be able to do now that's a lot easier?
Well, I think that, they sent out a new list of protocols. One of the things the NHL told, there was a Board of Governors meeting a couple of weeks ago by Zoom, was the one where they told them about the new TV deal with Turner. But they also said to them, guys, you're going to need to know that if you have an outbreak on your team during the Stanley Cup playoffs, it's going to be your tough luck. Basically, you're going to have to forfeit. But because I think they feel that players generally take things more seriously during the playoffs, I think they were comfortable getting to that 85% in the postseason. But there's a whole bunch of things in the protocols. There's relaxed rules for going out and eating, for example, relaxed rules for mask wearing, for example. Basically, it just releases you a bit more in life. You can, basically right now, they ask you, you're not allowed to go out to a they ask you not to go to a restaurant. They ask you not to go to a movie. Basically, you can go from rink to home to hotel to like a tea room in the hotel. That's pretty much it. Now you can go to eat somewhere in a small group. You can basically do more things than you would have been allowed to. It's a big change. You know, the reason I was a bit late today is I was taping an interview with Sam Bennett that's going to air on our podcast tomorrow. And one of the things we were talking about was he was traded from Calgary to Florida. Okay. So up here in Canada, we still have some of the strictest rules about what you're allowed and not allowed to do. Like our premier who's basically like our governor, our premier just announced like 2 hours ago, our lockdown's being extended to June 2nd. Like no golf or anything like that. Like it's crazy town up here.
Wow.
Like it really is. So
if you came to downtown Nashville right now, you'd be blown away.
I know, like it's unbelievable. I'm so jealous. Like, as you guys know, I love Nashville, and I'm so jealous of it as it is. Now I'm really jealous of it. But we talked to him about being traded from Calgary to Florida, and he was like, you know, you went from like a ghost town to, I'm paraphrasing, to like Florida. You go to the beach. Like he said, it was like total culture shock. So like it's even like, so imagine you're not playing in a place like Nashville or Florida, and you're up here where you're really not allowed to do something. It's even more pronounced.
Elliot, speaking of Nashville, you know, we're all here trying to assess the Predators' chances. They're a big underdog. I'm just curious from where you sit, because if you look at the stats for the season, it's overwhelming for Carolina. And Carolina, the more you study them, the more you realize that, you know, how little they have in terms of weaknesses. They're strong everywhere. But certainly if you look at the Predators' stats since March 15th, they're quite a bit better, even though individually you won't really find anything that wows you there other than UC Saros probably. But how big is the gap in your mind?
Well, I think they're a better team. I do think they're a better team. I think they're a really good team. I think they could win the Stanley Cup this year. I think there's a couple of things, though, that change. Number one, now you only have to worry about one opponent. And number two, your schedule becomes more consistent. Like this year was all fly by the seat of the pants, right? That's gone now. You know you're playing them. You know when you're playing them. You can concentrate on one thing. Two, no matter what happened to you in the previous 56 games of the season, that's over, okay? Now you get to write a new story. People don't take games off. People compete harder. Everybody says the officiating changes in the playoffs, and yes, it does. But I also think the players change in the playoffs. They are willing to commit and compete at a level they don't always do in the regular season. People understand that there's going to be, in a 56-game season, you're going to have, 10% stinkers? People don't tolerate that now. You're different, you're focused, you're better. The place where I really think you guys have an advantage is in goal. You know, I had someone call me today, and it wasn't anyone who's with the Predators, but say that Saros should be on my MVP ballot this year. And, you know, I don't know if I'm going to do that, but this is someone who I generally think is pretty sensible. And I thought it was interesting that kind of out of nowhere, they made the case for him to me. You know, Carolina, if there's a weakness there, it's in goal. And I think if Saros or Rene give you any kind of series, that's where you have a chance. That's where, Yossi's got to be great. And we always expect he will. He's going to be their target. They are going to do whatever they can to take Josi out of this series. It's not going to be easy to do. Yossi's got to be great. You know it. Your players have to, all the guys who took off in the last 30 games of the season, they have to be great. But I believe more than anything else, Saros or Rene have to be great. If they give you something, you've got a shot. There's no upsets in the Stanley Cup playoffs anymore. I don't believe that if you get any kind of goaltending.
Was it someone from the show? Because you said generally they make sense. So I didn't know if you were describing the show or.
No, it was nobody. You'll be stunned to know it was nobody from the show. It was actually another guy who covers the league. He said, what are you thinking on your MVP ballot? And I was like, I'm thinking McDavid 1, I'm thinking Matthews 2, I'm thinking Crosby 3. And he goes, you should have Saros on there. And I was like, okay. Because most people, if there's a goalie on there, they usually talk the guy in Tampa, Vasilevsky.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, plead me the case. And I got a lengthy dissertation. I'll put it this way: it was not a bad dissertation. I've had worse cases made to me before than that one.
Well, we certainly know that he's not going to win the MVP. That's why I think from our standpoint down here, we're concentrating on, and of course we have no sway over the GMs, but our concern is GMs up in Canada, in the East, divisions that haven't seen him and maybe don't know as much about him. If you haven't watched him every night, you can't really know what he has meant. Like, I really hope he gets recognized as one of the finalists for the Vezina.
I could see it. Like, I'm looking at the Vezina this year. I think it's Vasilevsky will be one of them, and he probably wins it. I don't know that for sure, but because I don't vote. I think the other guys in the conversation are probably Fleury, they're probably Hellebuck, and they're probably Saros. I really think so. I think that I do think that there is recognition for the job that he has done this year. So I don't know if he's going to end up being one of the finalists, but put it this way, like, I think there is recognition that he's a major reason, if not the reason, that your season turned around. And I think also the one thing I think about him is that there's a respect that he does it when he's not your typical, 21st century goalie Goliath. I think there is a certain respect for outliers like that.
We're talking to Elliot Friedman of Sportsnet here with us, joins us every Thursday at 1:00. So I want to play the what if game, because you talk to so many people around the league, and we had this conversation yesterday. If Carolina, and many people are going to pick Carolina, if Carolina wins this series and the Predators are out in one round, how do you think their season as a whole is going to be viewed, since we know where it was back in early March, late February, and we know the moves that David Poile didn't make at the trade deadline? How do you think people around the league would view the Predators season as a whole?
First of all, I think it would depend on how you go down to them. Like, if you go down meekly, that's going to leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth. If you give them 6 or 7 very hard games, then I think people feel very differently. I think that most people would think this year that you guys recovered. The one question I hope to ask David Poile someday is, how close did he actually come to blowing it up? Was it ever close, or was it more like saber rattling, maybe a bit of a motivational tactic, or was he in a situation where he said, no, you know what, I'm going to believe in this team and I'm going to see where it went? Like, I just think it comes down to, if you lose, how you lose. If you battle Carolina tooth and nail and you're right in it until the end, then I think most people would look at it like, you know what, you can't complain too much about that. I think the other thing that's going to be interesting is, what do you guys decide to do for the expansion draft? Is it 4-4? Is it 7-3? Does Ekholm get signed long-term? Like, all of this kind of stuff, I think we're all really curious to see, because I think all of that will tell the story about this year too.
I want to go back to coaches for a second. We know the current openings. There could be more. We know the names, big names that are out there, whether it's Tortorella, Mike Babcock is available. Gallant is one. But tell me some up and comers that maybe don't get enough notoriety, top assistants that could be in the fray.
Sure.
And is Lane Lambert one of them?
Well, I'm surprised it hasn't happened for Lane Lambert yet.
I am
to be
too.
perfectly honest. I know when Jared Bednar got the Colorado job, that Lane Lambert was in there pretty deep. Like, he was one of the guys they really liked. But I'm surprised that Lambert hasn't. What else does the guy have to do?
Yeah, I mean, he's won a cup.
He's learned at the feet of the master. He's won a cup. Everybody thought the Islanders were going to be a disaster. I don't understand why I'm really surprised he hasn't got a shot yet.
And he's got great hair.
He
really does. Great hair.
Unlike the rest of us in our older age, he's kept his. Another guy too, I think, whose name you're going to start to hear more is Mike Van Ryn. Mike Van Ryn will, if he wants a shot at Arizona, will have a good shot at that. He coached there before. He left. He went to St. Louis, where the GM, Bill Armstrong, in Arizona now was before going to the Coyotes. He won a Stanley Cup there next to Berube. Of course, he was a former player. He was a pretty highly regarded prospect during his day. He's there. I think he's a guy whose name you're going to start hearing more of. So
does Boudreau get another shot? Does Boudreau get another shot, or is he done?
I don't know. I don't think he wants to be done. I can tell you that.
No, I know that.
You know what the problem? You know what the problem is, guys, right now is there's a lot of good coaches out there.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot of good, experienced coaches out there.
And one extra job.
I think we're all kind of wondering on what's going on in Vancouver. Montreal is a job that the other team too that we're waiting for some clarity on is Anaheim. I think we're kind of all wondering, hey, are you guys sticking with your combination? And I don't think anyone's really gotten an answer yet.
Does Quinn get another shot or no?
I wonder if he goes back. First of all, if Buffalo desires to keep Eichel, he was his college coach. So I'd be curious about that. But the second thing I also wonder about is, does he go back to college? I think there will be interest in him to go back there.
Well, we'll see how it all shakes out, Elliot. Appreciate it as always. Glad we have a playoff schedule, and looking forward to some of the discussion over the next few weeks as the playoffs get underway. We'll do it again next week.
All right, guys. Have yourselves a great weekend.
You too. Elliot Friedman of Sportsnet joins us every Thursday at 1 o'clock here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. We'll have much more coming. Programming note, Matthias Ekholm going to join Stillman Company at 2:30 this afternoon. But Willie, why don't you tell us about loans and do it pronto? I'll steal Darren's joke.
I like it. Loan pronto. Got a lot going on over there. And as we know, if you live in Nashville, the housing prices here have done very, very well. That's not a secret at all. That means that if you're a homeowner, you're probably sitting on a ton of home equity. So this is an option that Loan Pronto wants you to know about. It might be time to turn some of that equity into cash that you can use right now and then reinvest, maybe in your home or maybe to take care of some other financial needs that you have. We're talking about Loan Pronto. They can refinance your loan at a super low rate. They can pay the closing costs for you and get you a bunch of cash out. I mean, like tens of thousands of dollars. So don't just sit on that home's new value. You can use it. Use it to pay off credit cards if you need, if you have some debt. Use it to consolidate other debt. Use it to make your home even more valuable with a new kitchen or new bathroom or something like that. Loan Pronto's all-digital platform makes it fast and easy. You can get a big check in a couple of weeks. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. How's that for your summer budget? So call Loan Pronto now. Don't wait any farther. 615-499-5780. 615-499-5780. Or go to loanpronto.com. Ask about the Loan Pronto zero-cost cash out refi. Loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. No cash refi. Not available on all loans.
The Stanley Cup playoffs playoffs are returning to Smashville.
If you get Arvidsson back in full Arvidsson, that would make a big difference.
We've got you covered with the only Preds talk in town.
They have the number one ingredient, which is the hot goaltender, right?
On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Smashville, it's Robbie Stanley, and I want to tell you about my friends at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They're locally owned and operated, and right now they're running a great tune-up special for one system for only $55. You heard that right? A great tune-up special for only $55. One of the many ways to save at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, and right now you can get 6 months, no interest financing available on repairs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offering premium service without the premium price. Do yourself a favor and check them out at springhillac.com, your proud partner of Smashville Live.
Hey guys, you know what season it is? That's right, it's moving season. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything, and I mean everything, will be taken care of, from covering the floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds. They're even going to wrap and protect all of your furniture and put all of your TVs in protective boxes. They took great care of everything that I owned and made it as stress-free as possible. They even have a brand new state-of-the-art storage facility in Mount Juliet for all of you to use. Their owners, Garrett and Robert, are true Nashvillians who care immensely about helping this community. So if you're looking to move, give my friends at TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit their website, nashvillemoving.org/radio. They'll give you 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving at 615-640-1219, nashvillemoving.org/radio. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
DQ presents. Picture this. Picture the new DQ Summer Blizzard treat menu with iconic flavors that taste like instant summer. You order the one and only drumstick blizzard with peanuts. Oh, wow. Crunchy waffle cone pieces, world-famous DQ soft serve, and blue sky bliss. Or maybe you get the brownie batter blizzard. Ooh, wee. Fudgy brownie goodness. You're feeling breezy and dreamy all over. Moments like these are why the new DQ Summer Blizzard treat menu exists. Get it delivered at DQ.com. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Saturday night.
Wheeling fires and scores! A gift wrap goal!
Nashville SC heads west for the first road match of the season against Real Salt Lake.
It's all about quick ball movement, better passing.
Coverage begins at 8:15
on ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
All right, everything is set. The playoff series that intrigues you the most outside of the one in this market is which one? Who wants to go first?
You're saying the matchup most intriguing outside of this one?
Because
that's a
I mean, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. The nastiness. I'll take the Florida one. It's never happened. So that's the low hanging fruit.
So you
right?
are. Wait a minute. That's not really. So you, of all of them, I think there's a lot of intriguing ones.
No, no question. But I'm just going to keep it in the Central. I've watched those teams, and you guys have as well, just backwards and forwards.
By the way,
mentioned he was interviewing
Skate.
Sam Bennett. Florida has made some very, very smart moves to overcome the loss of Aaron Ekblad. I think we all thought, hey, man, they lost Ekblad, one of the best defensemen in the league, having a great year. And they really haven't skipped much. They crushed the Lightning in 2 straight games down there to earn home ice advantage. I think Tampa's got a lot of question marks for a team that won the whole thing last year.
Let me say this, though. Morning Skate, Stamkos, and Kucherov are out there.
Well, that's great, but they haven't played in a long time.
I know.
So that's, can they just jump right in there and do?
I don't know. We're
do
about
the
to find out.
We'll find out.
I guess it's part of the intrigue on why you're answering it that way.
And then Florida, I don't know if they're going to go with Bob or go with the guy that's been, in my opinion, way better, Chris Drieger. And is Chris Drieger healthy? Remember, he got hurt in Nashville.
Yes.
And then they got the kid Spencer Knight, the wild card,
who also played against the Predators.
So I think there's a lot of intrigue in that series from a lot of different angles. And the two teams have been around now since the early 90s, both of them, right? and they've never played each other in the playoffs. So I'll go with that one.
Okay.
It's a good answer. I don't think there's a wrong one. I'm going to go Boston and Washington. I think that's going to be a fun series. You got obviously Peter Laviolette his first year with the Capitals. Bruce Cassidy's done a tremendous job with Boston. And I think those are two teams
Chara
that,
against the
Chara,
Bruins.
Yeah, that's a good call. Craig
It's
Smith
going to be
against
nasty.
Peter
That
Laviolette.
was just going to flat out be nasty.
Yeah,
no question.
So that, and I like those type series.
Say what you're going to say. Craig Smith, Crazy Legs against Peter Laviolette.
Yeah. So you got that as an intrigue as well. Jared Tenorti's in Boston, I guess. That's the other former Pred. But
Has he
Taylor
been
Hall.
playing? Has he
I
been
don't know.
playing for them?
I have no idea. Taylor Hall with Boston.
Taylor Hall has actually done well with Boston.
He has.
That
That's
has
been a good
worked.
fit.
That has worked so far.
It
He's
has.
very happy. He seems to be motivated. He's providing what they've been desperately looking for, and that's the secondary scoring. Right?
That's
They've
a
got the
deadline
top line.
deal that worked.
Yep.
Yeah. So I like that one. I think that one's going to be, because those are two teams that if they're not playing each other in the first round, you would expect that they could go further, but only one can come out of that. So I think that'll be a fun one.
I think you two have picked the best ones. I don't think there's any doubt. So, I mean, I'll just go,
I think there's another one outside of this one that's good though.
Oh, there's a number of them, really. I think you could say something about every one of them, but there's another one that's coming to mind for me, Darren.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you have the third pick in the draft here. So who are you going with?
Yeah.
I mean, I probably just selfishly intrigue. I would go Pittsburgh and the Islanders.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
That's going to be good.
That's
the
going to be a
Islanders
good
have
one.
owned them.
They have, but
remember they destroyed them a couple years ago in the playoffs.
But hey, the Penguins, they just keep chugging along, man. 16 consecutive years in the playoffs, which is the best by far of anybody in the league. It's not even close.
But they haven't made a deep run in a while. Remember, it was Barry Trotz and the Capitals that stopped them in the second round the year after they beat the Predators.
Well, they haven't been out of the second round since they were in the Stanley Cup final against the Preds.
Exactly.
But I am intrigued by that series.
And they got bounced in the first round by Barry Trotz and the Islanders in 2019. And then last year they didn't make it out of the qualifying round. They got schooled by the Montreal.
They did.
The one I was thinking of was Montreal against Toronto.
I would have said Toronto and Montreal, but
that's the one everybody is just going nuts about.
But I don't really believe it's going to be. I don't believe. Like, I understand. I know what's at stake. I understand all the pressure. The 9-ton gorilla is on Toronto. I get it because their shoulders are heavy. But ultimately, does anybody really believe Montreal is going to win? I mean, really?
Well, here's the question.
Like, it would
Nobody did last year.
Like 4 times. 4 times.
Well,
I don't. Would
you
have
have thought that
believe
Columbus would have dispatched Toronto as easily as they did last year? I don't want to say it was easy, but it was shocking how that happened. Can Carey Price rise up and have a great postseason, or at least one postseason series? He has not been great this year. They have not had a great year from him. But the postseason, everything is new, and he's one of the greats. I think it's good. That could be great drama, right? They haven't met in the playoffs since the 1970s, I think. They haven't been in the same division in so long. It's got so many great storylines.
I hope it is, but I don't buy it. I think Toronto's going to come out and they know. Look, they know.
So the demons that Toronto has, you're not worried about it.
They're going to exercise them. Okay. I don't see it being a series. I really don't.
You don't? Okay.
No, I don't. I really don't. I mean, Toronto's loaded.
Yeah.
I mean, they have no one to blame but themselves. Like, people will get fired. Like, I understand it's Toronto and it probably would happen anyway, but like, people will lose their jobs. Like, they will lose their minds if they were to lose that series. They are just.
But they've lost their minds many times the last couple of years anyway.
But in fairness, though, they had a real argument to say, really, we've got to go through this in the first 2 rounds. Like, really?
Well, they lost to Columbus last year.
Well, that was a little bit, but the Boston, they've been, the matchup has been like, oh my gosh, really? And that was fair to say that. But you're right. Columbus was a little bit. I don't believe. when it comes to firepower, Montreal just does not have the fire. But can they steal a game? Possibly 2, maybe. But I don't see it being a series. I really don't. So I know it was one to sit there and say, oh, the pressure. Like, I get it. They're still going to have pressure. Look, if they beat Montreal, it's not like all the pressure disappears and everybody goes, oh, okay, the demons have been exercised and whoo, nothing to see here. Are you kidding me? Everybody in Toronto is going to be like, well, duh, we should have beaten the Canadians. And we're way better than Montreal. Of course we beat the Canadians. It's not like they're going to be like satisfied. It's going to be like, well, duh, we're way better than Montreal. We should have beat them. I mean, I can't believe they lost a game, right? Or I can't believe they lost 2 games. It'll be that narrative.
No, you're right. And a series that I think any fun hockey fan who just wants to enjoy sports would want to see would be Connor McDavid against Austin Matthews. And
Sure.
that's potentially in the second round, right?
But that's not a guarantee.
Potentially.
That one's a lot more trickier to me than Montreal, Toronto. That one's a lot more tricky.
You think
even though the Jets have really struggled.
They have, but
you
still.
think they'll be a tough out?
That's why I was surprised to hear Elliott still put Hellebuck in there.
Tougher.
Hellebuck's numbers are not what UC Solis' numbers are, even though he's still very good. They rely on him heavily. They don't have it. They don't do very well defensively. But I don't know, selfishly, like I wouldn't mind seeing Toronto versus Edmonton. That could be a classic. That could just be a highlight reel.
Do you think goals will be scored?
Couple.
I mean, you heard me say this here. McDavid, he added to his point total the other day. He's got more points than the top 3 Predators individually combined.
The over-under for those games will be like 8.5. And for people who follow hockey lines, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 8.5.
Do you guys have a read on, I mean, we don't know Colorado or Vegas, which one will be the one yet, but Minnesota because I have no idea. I feel like Colorado or Vegas are destined to meet each other in the second round.
But Minnesota's the one that is everybody because you have the Blues there too, right? Yeah, and the Blues have not had a good year. But you do wonder, can the Blues put together their playoff formula from a couple years ago and be tough to beat? It's possible. But Minnesota has had a
you don't think they don't have demons? Season. Yeah, but you don't think they don't have playoff demons? I mean,
Minnesota?
Their whole history is littered with playoff demons.
Fair.
I mean, they're going to have the same thing, right? It's going to be like, oh, well, here we go. They're going to lose game 1. It's like, oh, here we go again. That's what the fan. I mean,
yeah, they've been
crushed
teased.
by they've been teased with great.
But this team has a different feel, right? It's a different general manager.
Is it?
They've got Kaprizov. Oh yeah, Kaprizov has changed everything for them.
I understand that, but they've had great seasons before, and everybody felt really good, and it didn't work.
Different players, a lot of different players.
But everybody felt good about the previous players, and it didn't work. So we'll see. Once again, I don't think Minnesota's fixed anything either. If you're asking me of all the demons, who do I trust? Who's the pecking order? Toronto, I trust the most.
People in Toronto, they would laugh at you if you said.
I don't think the people of Toronto trust them the most.
Minnesota, Edmonton, that's tough. Who's 2? Who's 3? I trust Minnesota a little bit more than Edmonton, so I would go Toronto, Minnesota, Edmonton. That's my pecking order of teams that have all kinds of playoff demons that I would trust the most.
Boy, they have some demons. You're right.
Toronto, Minnesota, Edmonton would be my pecking order.
But how much would Minnesota rock the world if they upset, whether it's Colorado or Vegas? Whoever they get.
I think you know the answer to that.
I mean, that would
no one would predict that.
No.
I don't think they will. But that's what I think will be the intrigue. Is like, will Kevin Fiala and a young guy like Kaprizov be able to do their thing? Right? Those guys are really talented, but we know the playoffs are different, right? It's hard-nosed. It's spaces at a minimum. Can you do your thing? Same thing with McDavid. Same thing with Austin Matthews. We're going to be talking about it till we're blue in the face here. That's going to be Nashville's goal, is to be able to make it a playoff kind of rugged, hard-nosed series where it's not as easy to be the freewheeling, high-flying team that Carolina can look like.
I told you earlier in the show we had according to BetMGM, that the Titans-Cardinals right now was the most bet game in Week 1. According to FanDuel, I can tell you where all the money's going right now on that game and others. So we'll find out who are they betting on. Are the Titans or the Cardinals?
And I'm going to be depressed on the other side, too, for baseball reasons.
Oh. Things not going well against the Jays?
Well, a very, 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 very good player just came up lame running it out at first.
It's probably broken, Chase. Something's broken.
Yeah, it could be.
Let me talk to you about my friends at Cool Springs MD. Dr. Jeffrey Lodge is the board-certified physician over there. His wife, Daphne's the registered nurse. And their experienced staff would love to improve your quality of life like they've done for me over the years. They've been around since 2007. They've helped a lot of you in this area become healthier and happier. Who doesn't want that as we all get older? Things happen and things, sometimes you need help, and they can help you in a lot of areas, whether it's weight loss management, right? Who hasn't had to deal with that in their adult life? Maybe you just tacked on some unwanted pounds, but they've got programs and products and people that can get you headed in the right direction. They would love to discuss that with you. Rejuvenation, your appearance should always be important. And as we get older, it gets tougher. But sit down with their experienced staff and discuss PRP, hair removal, Botox, hormone therapy. Maybe you've been feeling off lately. You haven't had the same drive or the same energy, or you just don't feel yourself, or you're feeling sluggish or got mood swings. Get your levels checked. They may have dipped. They may have dipped to an all-time low, and you didn't even know about it. You know what? That can affect you in these areas. You can discuss with their staff BHRT, testosterone, estrogen. They do it all under one state-of-the-art facility out there in Cool Springs at 1642 Westgate Circle. If you don't believe me, go see it for yourself. If you need to schedule an appointment or a consultation, dial this number, 615-283-7291. That's 283-7291. Or you can always learn everything about them by going to their website, coolspringsmd.com.
From working at home.
God, 17 games is so idiot. I hate the NFL.
To working on that honey-do list.
It's like you look around and go, what is happening? How does this happen?
Nashville's best sports talk is always at your fingertips. Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download it today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Our warming trend continues for the rest of the week. Sunny skies this afternoon. High 70. 70s back for us for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
312 Pizza Company is Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria, and they're now hiring. Work for a family-owned business and be a part of their incredible team. 312 Pizza Company is hiring for all positions, including host, waitstaff, bartenders, cooks, and more. 312 Pizza Company offers health insurance and pay time off to full-time employees. Contact Kimberly at 615-730-7888 or email at contact@312pizzaco.com. 312 is an equal opportunity employer.
1025 The Game and T-Mobile are partnered up to give you a chance to experience the Nashville SC game this season. Tune in every Monday to Darren, Daunic, and Chase for the keyword to text in to win. Good luck for 1025 The Game, T-Mobile, and Nashville SC.
Hal Gill runs on Dunkin', America's favorite coffee. I grew up in Boston on Dunkin' and so happy that Nashville has my favorite Dunkin' locations all over town. Energize your day with Dunkin's extensive line of specialty coffees and espresso-based beverages. Enjoy Dunkin's iced, flavor-blasted coffee, lattes, cappuccinos, Americanos, and more. Dunkin' has the most delicious donuts, muffins, bagels, and all-day breakfast sandwiches in the business. Hope to see you at the new Next Gen Dunkin' in my neck of the woods on Harding Pike in Belmead.
Do you hear My Computer Career ads and think, I don't know anything about computers? Well, you don't have to. Before starting, many graduates could turn a computer on and off, and that's it. And now they're IT pros. You could do it too. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. You could start your new life in as little as 4 months. Grants covering up to 53% of the cost are available to those who qualify. It's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career.
Jared Stillman.
Dad, why are we doing this? Because I said so. That's how Mike Vrabel is running the operation, at least with the fans.
And company.
Getting the because I said so answer doesn't give us anything.
Tune in Stillman and Company for your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Interact with Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road.
These are not our words, Jack. We're not telling you to hit the road. According to FanDuel, week 1 betting percentages. There is one game. We'll start there before a little build up to the Titans Cardinals. There's one game that right now the bet count is 100%. The handle and the bet count is 100% on one game. Now I get it. There's probably the numbers are low. This is not over huge samples. It's still very, very early on in the process. But this, like I said, according to FanDuel, there's one game in the NFL in week 1 that has 100% of all the action on one team. Anybody care to guess which matchup that is? It's a little surprising because you wouldn't think anybody would garner 100% at this point. Like I said, very small number, small sampling early on.
100% on one team. That is interesting because you just don't see that.
Nope.
How
about the Jags?
Jags. That was kind of what I was leaning at.
100% of all the bets and the handle.
Have there been like only like 6 bets? You know,
right?
A family of 6 from Jacksonville or something. Or?
I don't know, but it's low numbers. I understand. I'm putting that out there as a disclaimer, but I just thought that was interesting. There is when it comes to the Cardinals and Titans game, this is on the money line. So the money line is straight up. There's no point spread, which the point spread is low. But on the money line, who are they betting on? Cardinals or Titans? I will tell you that right now, the money on the money line is 90% on one team.
90%?
90%.
Well, I'm sure you brought this up to stick it to me, so I'm going to say
the Arizona Cardinals because this is a sexy pick.
90% of the money line money is indeed on the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah,
now, where is the money on the spread? It's 64% on one team with the spread.
Now that's interesting. Because what we were saying earlier about that we thought the wrong team was favored.
Somebody's going to be right, at least on the early returns. To that argument.
Yeah. So is it? Are they going towards the Titans?
64% of the money right now on the spread is on the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay. So they're taking the 2.
Yep.
They like that. They like the
so
plus
right
2.
now, all the action is on Arizona.
I can't help these people.
Do you want me to have them contact you so you can
please
talk to them?
Yeah. I'm just going to say, why are you betting on May 13th?
No, that's not what
my
they want
first
to hear.
question.
They've already bet, so it's too late. I thought you were going to try to talk them out of their bet.
Well, if they've already bet, I guess there's not much I can do.
Well, they can hedge and maybe tell them to put some action on the Titans.
Yeah.
Tell them it's a bad idea.
Reconsider.
Well, no. Okay. To that point, I think a lot of hedging happens week 1 in the NFL because of this, because you get the lines in early May and then they're going to change between now and September. Get through training camp, see who's hurt, all that. So you'll see hedging.
Well, why would you bet now if you're going to hedge? And what's the point of hedging?
Well,
why would you bet now if you're going to hedge?
There's a number. that might be.
Well, yeah,
I'm not betting now.
I know, but I mean, people that bet now are not looking to hedge. Hedge is,
I disagree. I think
kissing
some
your
people,
sister and getting out with a clean break. I mean,
I think some
people don't gamble to get away with a clean break.
I think some people hedge. Some people gamble and they hedge. That's just their strategy.
Well, some people do, but how's that a win? I mean, it's only a winning strategy is if you're losing. If you know you're going to lose.
I'm just telling you. I'm not saying I'm one of those people. I'm just saying I know that there are people that are going to do that, and they're going to change. They may take Arizona now, and then if that line were to flip and all of a sudden the Titans are +2, then they'll jump on the Titans or try middle or whatever. People play the middle.
Sources say Kenny Mayne was making in the $1.5 million range at ESPN. Not bad. Not a bad gig if you can get it. That will do it for our show today. Everybody enjoy this beautiful day. Be safe. We want you back with us tomorrow morning to close out the week at 10 a.m. We will see you then. Stay tuned. Stillman Company is